Hello, adventurers! And welcome to the 101st episode of Dirty 20, an evening of a laughter, drama, and adventure we call a D&D podcast. This is your Dungeon Master, and I am joined by my colourful cast of characters. What's passive aggressive?
Evening.
Yes, because earlier on Maya was like, well, you say it's evening, so now I'm...
It's evening. It's always been evening.
Alright. Yes. Either way. Yes, I'm joined by most of the group today. Obviously, we don't have Hayden for the time being. Mitch is likely to be along a little bit later on. So look out for him popping in. But for the moment, it is just us guys. And before we jump into the session, we're going to do our round of shout-outs as we normally do. This week, I'm not going to make Jay do them all because, I mean, last week was pretty entertaining, I can't lie.
Yeah, call upon me when the lanterns are lit.
When Gondor calls for aid.
Yeah, when Gondor calls for aid.
Well, do you know what? Unfortunately, Gondor does call for aid right now because Mitch is not here to talk about Monday night. So.
Oh, I see.
Jay,
well, this might be a little thing I can do for you. Well, let me tell you something about Edge of the Empire. Mitchell Brown's face across the galaxy. Yes, you heard it last week. Now, let me tell you, you and Buddy has been spotted in Polis Massa.
What?
Basically, we have a little fun game we play on Mondays, 7 p.m. GMT +1. I don't know.
No, just GMT.
GMT, whatever. That thing. There's a bunch of us. There's obviously our illustrious DM, Mitchell Brown, and Ewan. I was going to say Ewan McGregor then. Ewan McGregor playing Edge of the Empire with us. It's a lot of fun. There's also me and Sam. We play Star Wars. We explore the galaxy. At the moment, we got some spicy stuff going on. I'm excited to play. You'd love it. You'd really enjoy it. Come on down tomorrow, 7 p.m. GMT.
Thank you very much for that. Also, Mitch has his own channel, Lambent Rain, and there it is in the chat where he plays some games on there. And I'm pretty sure the one that he plays the most is Dead by Daylight. I don't know if he plays anything else. I've not seen him play anything else, but if you like that sort of shit, check that out. Mr. Palmer.
Yes, I have been called. Sam JKP on YouTube and Twitch. Still playing through Legends Arceus at the minute. New Pokemon game was announced today, so exciting stuff. Yeah, if you like Pokemon or people with big foreheads, come and watch. It's a good time, I promise.
People with big forehead? Who's that?
Succinct. I appreciate it. Succinct.
Very niche market, but apparently it works.
I mean, you gotta fit the niche,
Send forehead pics.
Oh my god! What is that, Jay? What have you fit in the chat? My god.
What is that?
What?
No bitches.
Maya, would you like to
Maya can explain what's in the chat.
Can I? What is it?
Look at it. Look who it is.
Where? Who? Where?
In the Twitch chat.
I can't. I've just joined. I can't see it. What is it? Put it again.
Oh, good god.
Oh my god. No maidens. So somebody who actually does have quite a few maidens is me. I have maidens and maidens galore in a little game called Genshin Impact that I do enjoy playing quite often, actually. And I stream it, and so you should go and come and watch me play that game and watch all those lovely ladies and some men run around and fight things.
We're on fucking fire today.
We're on fire today.
The shout outs on this channel never fail to please.
Never.
Thank you for those. Obviously, In addition to that, we have a Discord. Boom, it's in the chat. If you hit that link, you'll be able to go and see where we post maps and items and handouts that I give to the players. Where we also talk about the game, the stream, and just RPGs in general. So if you want to head over there and check that out, that would be grand.
Nudes channel coming soon.
Nope, not happening. And on that bombshell,
Here's concert date.
let's very quickly delve into this episode of Dirty Twist.
I'm a device.
And welcome back. So, last time on Dirty 20, narrowly escaping defeat at the hands of the Ilithid at Emberforge, Ferra Carta escaped into the tunnels beneath the city, but not before dealing a substantial blow to the enemy force. Navigating the dark pipelines, you eventually found a position to take a meagre rest, but enough to give Storm the strength to open a circle away. Your destination was Deep Bay, and arriving back at the top of Sindri's tower, you were met with the ambassador. You were told about about the encounter and explained the weight of it. He then suggested that perhaps the only true solution would be the intervention of the Golden Empire. Your next stop was Castle Deep Bay, and a meeting with Theodore. Exchanging information, he offered rooms and a dinner invitation for that night. A precursor to a much-needed meeting regarding further plans. Before this, however, Eredhel met her displeased mother, whom scolded her for, upon being told of the gift awakening. Upon further questioning, however, she explained that perhaps it was not entirely Eredhel's fault. That its awakening may be due to close proximity of the strong psionic energy wielded by the Ilithid. She predicted the possibility that the gift had been turned by these Ilithid and now sought to integrate back into a hive. The dinner was elegant and tasteful, an assortment of different meals prepared and laid out before you. Business was left outside, as you told tales of your adventure to the interest of the High Lord. However, as dinner wound down to dessert, Theodore proposed an offer to you, the chance to take deed of land within the city, in the form of a disused fortress within the Rise. Not requiring an answer immediately, the dinner was called to an end, with an hour of rest before the official meeting commenced. Now, Ferra Carta, once again in your guest chambers, you prepare for the upcoming meeting. What do you wish to do?
We don't have long, do we? Should we talk about what we need to bring up?
What don't we need to bring up? Wait, have you... First of all, we still haven't got your supplies yet, have we? Or has that been arranged?
No, I asked him, but he I think he thinks I'm pushing my luck.
Right, so we need to get you supplied up.
With what coin?
You don't. I mean, apparently there are people in this party that have money.
I do the John Travolta.
Well,
Can I
who's
just
got?
say, Eredhel is in the other room right now, so she's not privy to this conversation.
Okay.
Kayak
Who's-
opens his little coin thing and just turns it upside down, and an actual moth flies out.
Who's got the bag of holding?
You do, I think.
Me? I don't have
Cool.
it. I have. Well, if I
Don't tell
if
me
I-
left it in that tavern.
No, Alistair gave it to someone, didn't he?
He left it in the room and fucked
He
up.
left it in the room.
Wait, did we not pick it up?
Are you serious?
I don't think we
It was in the room it was in the tavern room with the note.
Wait, so we didn't pick it up?
I'm
No.
pretty sure someone would have picked it up.
Yeah, someone would have picked it up.
Yeah,
with the note.
I was gonna
So it
say.
was whoever went in and picked that note up would be the one.
Storm,
But
wasn't
it wasn't me, so Storm must have it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. It was. I didn't pick up the
You
note,
read
did
the
I?
no- Yeah.
Oh
Pretty
my
sure.
God.
I thought
Roll
someone
the
else.
I
tape.
can't remember.
Well,
pretty sure you
if not, I'll have it. But I will warn you, it
I'll
will
have
be
it.
filled with lots of dirty things, lots of
No,
bugs, and
I
lots
don't
of
want
weird
Guy
shit.
Act to be in
No.
charge
But
of the
yeah,
bag of
someone
holding.
I
else,
think-
Or was that a
please
butt
take it.
plug?
I think Zuko had the note and showed me the note.
Zuko.
Yeah, it might be.
I think Zuko might have it.
Oh, I see. Blame it on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the only answer.
Well, I think in the bag of holding we still had some leftover gold from that place we got it from. I can't remember. Jesus Christ, my brain.
Who was in charge of writing down that? Was it
It was
Alistair?
Alistair.
I
yeah.
did make a note, but so did Hayden, and I don't know if our notes match up.
Well, I have access to his sheet.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I think I do as well, actually.
So do I.
Might be in there.
Why do we all have
Fuck do
access?
you all have access?
He's been passed around.
Yeah, he's a little.
Yeah, little like
Like a little. Dab.
Some of it showing.
right.
Alistair
I
is
mean,
COVID.
I don't know if this has
Yeah,
changed since then, but what
I
he
mean, he's got 1,710
gold, but I don't know if
Jesus.
that's been tapped into since then. But I mean,
Let's
yeah.
just pretend that is true. That is
So
true.
in the bag of holding is 1,710 gold, 19 platinum, 800 silver, and 2,000 copper.
Yeah, because what he's got on here, he's got his own. It looks like at the top, he's got
His
his own gold
money, yeah.
laid out,
Wait.
and then
34 platinum and one.
But that's including
He
his
doesn't
own
spend-
stuff.
and he actually spends money on diamonds and stuff.
Yeah.
How the fuck does he have that much money?
He is.
Question is, would he have given
So
us?
that is in conjunction with the bag of holding stuff. I
So
believe
so
that's not
what's
his
at the
own
top?
money.
I remember when Thrisk was the richest
Right.
member of
So
this
the bag
party.
of holding stuff
Yeah.
is what is in.
Yeah, it's at the bottom
his
of the sheet.
weight,
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
So how much?
I believe.
What do you need for teleporting?
I could use at least 200
We
gold.
might have to message him.
If we
I might have to message him right now.
We'll go with
If
what's
we-
at the bottom.
have enough, we should probably buy extra. No.
200
That's good to be
golds
safe.
worth would approximately get us 2 round trips. As in, like, there and back. But extra would be great. Maybe even number.
200 gold worth of stuff, and you think you'd be good for a while?
Would mean I could make 2 round trips. Yes.
Wait, how much money do we have again? Sorry.
Okay, I just closed it.
Because
God damn it.
just because I'm thinking that we should give Storm more than just two trips, just in case.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 1,710 gold, 19 platinum, 800 silver, and 2,000
A minute.
copper.
Yeah, I-
1,117 gold.
1,710 gold.
Wow.
We definitely have enough to like double that, so that he can do like 4 trips.
Yeah, if you want 400 gold's worth, take it.
And then how
I
much
could use.
platinum was it?
I think
I
let's be safe.
19, 19.
I've got some extra ideas as well, to help us all. So I could really use even a little bit more.
I think
mean,
if we
I
have
don't-
it would be.
Yes. mean.
Okay, so
Bottom
the
of the
money at
bag.
the bottom of the sheet is what
Yeah.
he left you in
Yeah,
the bag
that's
of
what's
holding.
left. Yeah.
But where is that at the bottom?
That's what I've
At
been
the
reading
bottom.
out. That's what I've been reading out.
the
So-
19. Oh, the 1,700. Yep,
Yeah,
I see.
that's
So
Yeah,
what's
right.
left.
I would, for the moment, I would actually transfer that onto your sheet. I'm trying to see, because the thing is, he also will have some of the other stuff on here. Would have been, in that bag.
Yeah, I don't know what else
not
was in the
sure.
bag of holding.
Evil book.
Alistrine, I'm sorry. the box thing.
What box thing?
Oh yeah. We have it.
Oh my god.
I'm
We've got
sorry.
it.
Where is
Oh,
it? Where does it
for
say
fuck's
that?
sake.
Under the eye of the hags. This bag of
I
holding.
can't see this, you know.
Alistrine, I'm sorry.
XD.
XD raw.
XD.
I can't. Where are you guys reading this?
Oh, because we've
Have you
got
not got a
Alice
sheet?
sheet.
We've
We've
got
got a
Alice's
sheet.
sheet, yeah.
Oh, I don't.
We've used him.
Alice
Used
String,
and
I'm
abused his
sorry.
body. His black gothic suit.
Okay, so you could easily get 400 golds worth of stuff. Because then you'd be
Can I recommend you put that on your own sheet now?
sorted. Yeah. Everyone
I'll
add
take it.
the gold to your own sheet so we can all keep track of how much we have.
Are you dividing it between you? Because otherwise it might get confusing. If you
I
all
mean,
put
we
one bag.
can.
I think either one
The only-
person needs to keep track of it, or
Right.
we divide it.
Because otherwise, all of you are going to look like you have like 2,000.
Do you
Oh,
want
yeah.
me to keep track of it?
I mean, whoever's got the bag of holding will have to keep track of it.
Well,
so
how
it's
much is
the person who
19
chooses to
platinum
keep-
Right,
again?
I-
It's about 190 gold, yes?
As he's not here, I'll take charge of the bag of holding. So I'll
Alright.
keep track of the gold.
What say you about? Could I get about
Do you know what?
700?
Do you know what I might do? I'm going to make a bag of holding. I'm gonna give you a bag of holding in your items, so you can write everything that's in the bag of
Thank
holding
you.
can be in a bag of holding.
Thank you.
So just give me a second. So you can continue on while I just set this up.
So you need what actually are the materials that you need for teleporting?
100 gold, isn't it?
50 gold per single trip. I could use for the amount that would work for 4 trips. Would I have something else I'm cooking up as well that I might need a little bit of excess gold for?
I think if we have the gold, then we should use it. But we should see what we can rinse out of Theodore first. Don't
Agreed.
mention how much gold we have.
Okay, try that so I can close that. Amazing.
I think you're hard muted, Ewan.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm going to add something underneath, and it's just going to be somewhere you can write underneath, basically a list of everything.
Cool. Awesome. Very nice.
Alright, boom. So you should now see, in all of your journals, you should be able to see a bag of holding. Oh, for fuck's sake, why is that in my notes? I didn't ask to put that in my notes. Hold on. Ugh. Give me one moment. Alright, should be underneath there. There we go. Underneath that. Fuck me. Okay, so now you should see a bag of holding. You have a description of it, and then at the bottom it should say contents, and you can make a list of stuff you're putting in there.
Yep.
Can you see that?
It says edit. Yes.
Yeah, you should be able to edit it as well, and basically edit the bag.
Okay, I'll add the gold to it then.
I probably could have put that at the top, to be honest.
It's all good. Oh,
Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now, because otherwise it might delete anything you're editing. Alright, so you've got a bag of holding now, so now you know where you can keep all of it without it being on a sheet where it might get confusing between what's personal items and
Yeah.
what's bag of ye holding.
Bag of ye-
Also, that's good for me, because if I ever want to steal your bag of holding,
You got everything, yeah.
Right.
now I know what's in it.
Perfect. So, how much gold do you want, Storm?
Around 600, 700, whatever could be spared.
Theodore would say he would provide some, so we should see what we can get from
Yeah.
him
Did he
first.
say that? I thought you said he didn't seem very accommodating.
He seemed a little bit stingy, but he said he would provide us with something, yes.
All right. Well, let's speak to him first then, and then we can
Yes.
divvy
Let's
it out. What time of day is it?
It is currently the later evening. You know, you've been in Deep Bay, long enough to know that most shops close around 6-ish time, 5 or 6. Unless it's, taverns or bars or, places of night activity. I believe you've even tried to go into places at this time and then they've been closed.
Right. Okay.
I think it's a tomorrow's job thing. I have to contact Eredhel tomorrow too.
Right. Of course. Yes. It was a big thing. What we need to do. Shall we do that before we leave for Verlim, or when we get there?
See, I don't even know if it's tomorrow that he wants to leave. He
We
said he
can.
wouldn't talk over dinner, so as soon as this meeting happens, the sooner we can actually get to planning what we're doing.
Right. Is Jala with us, or has she gone back to her room?
I'd say that Jala has gone to change out of whatever kind of clothes had been fitted for her.
Okay.
She probably would have worn a sort of a navy suit.
I will. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to do, I'm probably going to go check on her.
Do we know how long we have until... Because we're meeting with Theodore again, right? Do we know
Yeah.
how long we have until then?
So I'd say that you. Well, yeah. I don't know why I'm saying it. Questioning there. You do know that he said, around about an hour.
Okay.
I believe he said he'd have someone to come and collect you.
Right. Okay.
So you don't have to worry about trying to make your way there on your own, or worrying about the time. Someone will come to collect you when you're ready, when he's ready. But about an hour.
Cool.
Okay.
Do you have something you wanted to do?
No. I don't have enough time.
That's true. We only have an hour.
I think I'll just go and rest.
Sounds good. I'll probably go find Jala, just see if she's alright.
Alright, you head over to the room where you know Jala is, and as you head in, you can see she's in the middle of getting dressed. She's about to put part of her armor back on, or sort of the undergarments of the armor. I don't think she's going to necessarily get dressed into full plate armor for a meeting.
Yeah.
You kind of come in and see where she's got bandages over her shoulder, where she's bandaged herself up, or on this side, sorry, because that was where that main wound was. She pulls a bit of clothing across.
Oh, you alright?
Yes, I'm fine. Just a little sore.
Take it easy.
Don't worry, I am. What can I help you with?
Just wanted to make sure you're okay.
I think I'm fine. It's just a lot to take in, really.
Yeah. Well, make sure you take any time you can to rest. You've been doing nothing but running for the longest time.
That's true, but I don't think it's not over yet. It's a small respite. But sure, at least I'm sure that it's not over yet, by a long shot.
Absolutely. But still,
Got a lot of work to do.
take your pleasures where you can find them.
Is it a request?
It is an order. Have to make time for it.
There are very few people who could successfully give me orders, Aria.
Just trying to look out for you.
friend.
Which one?
The I'm not really sure how to describe her.
You mean the one who looks like she wants to kill everyone in the room?
Yes, that one.
Mm-hmm.
She seems different somehow.
Different.
Oh, sorry, did you ask her how different?
I was saying different as in like, you know,
Oh.
different. Like, how do you mean?
She seems a little more cooperative, I suppose, is a way of putting it. Last time she seemed to be out for herself, and that was it.
Yes, she's had a little bit of a personal journey. That's for sure. Shocked even me. But it's nice to see.
I can understand that. She doesn't like me. I can tell.
Yes, she's not very subtle about that. It's a very long story, and it's nothing that nothing that you need to be concerned about. But yeah, try not to let it bother you.
Look, if you've had some kind of thing with her, you need to be careful that it doesn't affect how you work together. Because if you let it, you could wind up getting one of you killed. So I'd just be careful.
Oh yeah.
Don't. There's a phrase that some of the other matrons used to say. Don't eat where you shit. Or don't shit where you eat. I can't remember. It's been a long couple of weeks.
Pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be difficult, but I think it has got to the point where I don't think anything I say she would want to listen to. So I'm just going to give her some space for now.
If it avoids confrontation, I suppose it's the best option. Can't afford distractions right now. It's too dangerous.
You can say that again. Well, if you need anything, you know where we are. Just
I shall call if I need.
head back into the main room.
You catch at the corner of your eye with your incredible perception as you head out. She does not, I don't want to say longingly, but she does look. She holds the look on you as you leave the room.
Okay.
Not sure necessarily in what regard, but she does kind of watch. Head back into the main room.
Okay.
As you do so, is there anything else anyone would like to do with this time?
I think I'd take some time to pull Gaiak aside. See what he's about.
Alright. As Gaiak, you head towards the room, Storm comes over towards you.
Yeah, as I turn around, he's got that worm in his hand again. I'll just put it in the bag.
Thanks for the seasoning.
It's okay. It's no problem. I have plenty.
Yeah, wondering if I could ask you for some insight into something.
Well, of course.
You must have seen I'm writing up some notations. I know that Alistrine, she didn't remember much from her time with what happened, but I recall you were controlled once down underneath.
In the Underdark, yes.
In the Underdark, yes.
What would you like to know?
Just if you remember anything, really. A voice or a feeling, sensations.
It's all a little bit hazy. It was one minute I was standing there, and then it was like a dream, but very hazy and dark. And then the next thing I knew, I was back with all of you, not knowing how much time had passed, not what had happened. It wasn't like I was in my body watching what was happening. It was like I was trapped
Interesting.
in a dark dream.
Storm would have had his journal out and take some notes on this.
How long was I under their control for?
I think it was the better part of 2 minutes, really. Maybe less.
The dream
1 minute.
felt like seconds. I can't remember very much, but I felt trapped and overpowered.
I remember.
They spoke to me while we was in the pipes.
They did?
Yes, there was a very familiar sensation in the base of my neck, like
Writes
like
this
pins
down.
and needles.
Could have been. Could it be that because you were previously connected to the hive, that now you
That's what
have a
worries me.
sensitivity?
That's what worries me. I fear that they could gain control easier.
I'm curious. I'll keep an eye on you. And Kensei, since I believe you, Kensei, and Alistrine were the only ones who have succumbed to their control.
Wait, just out of character for a second. Was Storm wasn't controlled by the Illithids, was
The
he?
rats.
It was the rats.
But the rats could have been connected to them, but I don't know if Storm has made any connection to this yet.
Okay. When we was in Sill City and you was controlled, what was that like?
It was a single voice. Dreamlike, just like you mentioned. My eyes glazed over in a dark haze. The voice was not human, and I've spoke to animals before. Not like that. It wasn't an animalistic voice. It was a darker presence. Ordered me to kill you all.
You think it could be connected?
I'm starting to believe it could. That thing we faced in the bottom of that house certainly didn't seem like anything I've ever seen before. Neither did the Ilithid. I remember that had similar appendages and multiple mouths. Just idiots.
It was horrifying, and I'm glad that is well past us.
One may say eldritch.
if it does happen again, and I am under their control, you have my full permission to do whatever you must.
I hope it doesn't come to that, friend. I'm devising ways to make sure that we do not succumb to their control any longer. But he shakes his book quill. I need all the information I can get. So please, if anything comes back, a sound of voice, inflection.
Well, you'll be the first person I tell.
Thank you. I think you'd go on and do the same for Kensei, too. But I don't want to take up too much time. I can always have the conversation with Kensei another time.
Alright.
Yep.
So you're not you don't want to go through that conversation with Kensei just now then?
I'll go. I'll die. Actually, no, I won't go to. I'll go to Kensei for another point. I can see this as like a other downtime thing, so it doesn't just do a big part.
Okay. So just to clarify, you're not doing that right
Not
now?
right now. No.
Okay. Cool. So as you have that conversation, Gaik, you go and head back into your room to take a rest. Is there anything else anyone would like to do in this time?
I think so.
Just checking. It's alright, you don't have to. I'm just checking. Oh, God. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm holding it back. I wanted to say that Gaia's going to play with his worm.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Can you do that in your own room, please?
But I mean, he is in his own room. But I mean, the little worm that he has. He's just gonna take it out and like, if there's a desk, he'll just sit at the desk and kind of put it on the desk and play around with it.
Right. Well,
That's a new euphemism.
God damn it, Sam.
I'm gonna play with the
Oh,
worm.
sorry. Oh, well.
I'm gonna play with my worm.
Alright, okay, well, in which case then, as you kind of take this time, an hour to kind of go through a small process of, taking a little bit of a rest after dinner, getting ready and changed and prepared for the meeting in the evening, eventually, you hear a knock at the door once again, and opening it up, you can see that same individual that you had seen previously, who'd come through this servant, openly says to you, okay, well, if all of you are ready, then if you wouldn't mind following me to the High Lord's meeting room.
Follow him.
He will give a small bow and proceed to walk you through the building. So, leaving the guest quarters behind and following the servant, you are led throughout the castle, coming to the base of what appears to be one of the many towers within the castle, and are subsequently led up a staircase that winds all the way up and up and up, to what appears to be a room atop one of these towers. As you head up the staircase and into this chamber, you see all the walls it's kind of like this circular room. All the walls contain these curtained windows that look out into the sky, with very small stunted balconies that can imagine appear to look down onto the city below. In the middle is this heavy dark wooden round table, surrounded by numerous chairs of elegant and regal design. One stands out as the highest back, with the symbol of Deep Bay woven into the satin of the back cushioning, and you can see at this moment Theodore is currently pulling the chair out and beginning to sit down into the chair as you approach up the staircase into this chamber, which smells strongly of sweet wine and almost like incense. which you can see coming from like burners that are hanging from the ceiling at various points in the room. Atop the table, there is a preparation of sorts. You can see goblets, pipes and cigars are laid out atop the table for meeting guests. And as you come to the top, Theodore extends an arm out and kind of brushes it across the table. Guests, please take a seat. We can begin our discussion.
Go and sit down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit down as well.
Same.
Alright. So you take your seats. You can see he sits there and kind of ushers a hand in one of the servants from around the room, who's there in formal attire, begins to walk around, pours a bottle of red wine into a goblet in front of him, as he proceeds to walk round and offer to pour it into each of yours. And do you know what? I might just go and get a little prop.
Oh,
Oh.
mate.
Oh, your
remember
goblet.
We could use props.
You do have a
Remember we
goblet,
got
right?
Physical notes.
Are there Twitch
stuff?
guidelines against alcohol? I don't know.
Ah, no.
Those were the
I've-
days.
I've actually thought about getting some props. I thought of something like the outrageous props, like rings,
Like milk.
like black milk.
Black
yeah.
milk.
Alright. So,
What's this prop?
it's just a goblet.
Oh, I don't know. It might be the goblet.
So he takes the wine, and does anyone not take any wine?
I'm
from
Don't
this?
take no
absolutely
wine. Storm as usual, sober, unlike his
Alright.
master.
I can't drink.
Yeah, I think Gaiak will take one, but I don't think he'll actually drink from it.
The Titan.
Alright,
Take
so
one.
that's fine. So as, those of you that take a drink have it poured in. He places it down and kind of takes a cigar, which another servant comes over and cuts the end of and begins to light it. He places it in his mouth, takes a small puff and puts his glasses up. To meetings.
Meetings.
To meetings.
Very well. Shall we begin? There are other drinks available as well, and he kind of gestures and a few like pitchers are put on the,
Oh my gosh,
on the
yes.
table. Mostly water, but
Oh, no porn star martini pictures.
no porn star meeting, no
God
cocktails. Wine only.
So, first things first.
Yes.
Do we want to contact Orella?
Yes.
Is it the same? Do you need to rest, or can you do that now?
I cannot do it now. No.
Right. Okay. So never mind. Not first things first.
Okay. I think maybe perhaps the question should be, should we conduct a relax?
I think we should. I think that her knowledge far exceeds ours, and what we need right now is information.
Yes, rightly so. We do need to contact her.
The question is, do we do this now, like here, or do we do it in Verlum?
I think if we're contacting her just for information, it should be as soon as possible.
Okay.
If we can start the conversation, then if we know things sooner, it's much more advantageous.
It'd be so much more beneficial if she was at the meeting physically. But I don't know how viable that is.
And we can always ask her.
She may have means of teleporting, yes? She had ways of teleporting to wherever she is now.
It's true. We could ask her if
Teleport
she
it
wouldn't
out.
mind.
Brings us to an important question, Theodore. When do you intend to meet with Cecilia? Soon?
As soon as possible would be beneficial, I think you would agree on that.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I think the precursor to this meeting should be a simple question of if indeed there is only an estimated month what are your plans on what should be prioritized?
Oh my god.
It seems there are multiple avenues to take at this point, and a month does not leave much room to engage in all of them, clearly. Traveling is exhausting and difficult, and time-consuming.
Who's got the pros and cons list that we made the other day?
Oh, that was on the chat.
It is exhausting, yes, and my abilities don't stretch as far as being able to get us from A to B. It would be more like C to F.
Explain.
Not so direct.
I see. You can't get from one destination to another unless it is certain locations, and therefore it is not the ideal location of travel.
Exactly. I wouldn't have expected anything less from someone with a mind for the arcane.
I assume you're referring to a teleportation, sir.
That's the one, yes.
Yes. I'm aware that the druid circles have been used as such, though I am also aware that their arcane abilities have long since dispersed. It was said that once a druid could travel from one to any of the others, even if one had never been to the other circles. But unfortunately now the arcane diluted would seem impossible.
We have come across a few that have been desecrated and are unable to be used anymore.
That is a shame. I assume you speak of I cannot recall the
Fort Valor.
the house. Yes, the circle at the center of the fort. Yes.
I believe it was the 8th house. No, the 7th. Or is it 6th? Gayak, you remember it correct? Was it the 6th house? Or the 8th house?
I believe it was the 6th.
Oh, one moment. A refill, please. Thank you.
Are there servants in the room?
There
Can I
are.
just do a quick vibe check on the servants?
Sure, roll an insight check.
Don't know why.
Probably a good idea.
I mean, as someone who's just got
Been
higher
bought out.
insight. 9.
Oh,
They're quiet
Okay.
and seem subservient. They're not keeping to themselves, just waiting for orders, really.
Okay. Alright. I'm just gonna, every now and then, just clock a servant, just every now and then.
I think it's in our best interest to express this to you too. When we arrived here in Deep Bay, mere hours ago, we had to, by means of Sindri, like we said, he made a proposition. A very forward proposition that we are obviously not in any power to agree with, and for my own personal reasons, I couldn't dream of it. But he mentioned bringing the Golden Empire into this.
An offer I am unsurprised at, but one that cannot be taken quite clearly. Involving them would be unacceptable.
They are privy to this, and seems like they do have adequate knowledge and means, but you're right. Doesn't bode well for the coast if the Golden Empire were to gain footing here.
It would certainly be a inconvenience for the people of this nation. The Golden Empire are not prone to sharing.
No, they're not.
Though they are effective, I cannot deny that. If things became truly desperate, it may be the only option. But I would like to avoid that situation as much as possible. And I'm sure you can imagine that the rest of the coast would not bow so easily to their influence, and the peoples to their magic.
Yes, it
Pardon you.
seems that way.
Is the room too dusty?
No, sorry. Just got something in my throat. Wine went down the wrong hole.
Allow me to get you some water. Water.
Thank you.
Storm.
Hmm?
How long can you keep a teleportation circle open for?
All but 7 to 8 seconds, really. Not very long.
And how long do you have to wait before you can try again?
To open it again, 10 minutes. It's not the most effective method, but it works for small groups.
Lord Theodore, do you know of any other practiced mages in Deep Bay?
Others aside from yourselves?
Yes.
Or
Yes,
Sin-
aside from... Well, I'd rather
Sindri,
keep...
the ambassador, of course.
I'd rather keep him out of it.
There is an elf that owns the mystical emporium.
Oh,
Glenn,
we've met.
I believe
Yes,
his name is.
we've met. Yeah.
We have met.
Yes. He is one such mage. There is an interesting goblin folk
Oh, yes.
who resides within the exchange.
We've met
Interesting they are.
Mm.
Glimmerin. I didn't discern that they were practicing, higher level spells than me, but maybe they are of a hidden nature.
We
Would
didn't
be
exactly
welcome.
ask.
No, I didn't. They shared a passion for the arcane. Was nice.
Perhaps they could help.
How long
What?
would it take to get to... What's it called? The Witch's Forest? That's me asking out of character. What's it called?
The Witchwoods.
The Witchwoods. Thank you. Yeah. How long would it take to travel to the Witchwoods from somewhere
foot?
like Deep Bay? Yes.
You're looking at if you were undisturbed, 4 or 5, 10 days, I would imagine, all the way to the border of Bellinor. But passing through the clanlands, especially now, would be increasingly difficult with the clans and tribes in upheaval.
What if it were an army?
An army to move through the clanlands. It depends on your force and the supply, I would imagine. But I would say a similar amount of time, if not longer, to organize a march of that style. there are reasons why the Foyfortians have not pushed further into the clanlands or the Free States. Sometimes I catch myself on that.
We are quite at a disposition with the Foyfort.
In what regard?
We have witnessed what they can do firsthand, in the Ilithid, I mean. And we know that there is an access point quite deep into Bellinor. Would mean if they do choose to use this as a point of invasion, then Foyfort would be the first to be hit.
At this point, you see Charlotte kind of sits up, who is with you. Sits up in her chair. There are many different access points to the surface from the Underdark, from my lens. It could be one such point of invasion, but there are many other ways to get up to the surface. Your companion has a point. I cannot be sure exactly where such an invasion would take place.
It's true. It's true. We can't put everyone in one position. It's the only one we've had experience with, and I guess they would come up at all different points.
Jala, in your opinion, are they more likely to stage attacks, stagger attacks, or pounce at once, from what you know of their attack so far?
From the tick on Blade Garden, I'd say that they wait until their force is ready and then strike at once. I'm not sure if they attacked other targets at the same time that they assaulted my home, but the force they attacked was overwhelming. It was like they knew exactly what they needed to do and were already prepared, that they had won the fight before the fight had even begun.
Hold on. Did they... this is a long shot of a question, but did they scout somehow? Did they, for example...
Not that I'm aware of.
They didn't even take control of someone's mind and infiltrate?
Before I knew what was happening, the fighting was already beginning.
So
We were separated from each other, and some of us managed to escape.
so they did this without
I don't have the
even any intel.
perhaps. Clearly they have ways of infiltrating people's minds. I can't say that they didn't have that information.
From a distance, maybe.
Perhaps. One thing's for sure, and the battle at Emberforge is a testament to this, that they send in other forces first, that they are the last ones to enter the fray. If an invasion happens, it would be the drones. I hate to use that term, but drones first.
You don't know of any other... Well, I guess there's a lot of points. A lot of entrances to the Underdark, correct? All over the coast.
All over the coast, yes, and across Val-Aeria.
Wow. We are... in
Is
for
there no
something.
way to
We
narrow
don't-
down which one they're most likely to emerge from?
That would be useful, but I don't live near the surface. My home was not... We didn't keep track of every location that connects to the surface. We're a temple. We're an isolated group. We're not bastions or wardens. There was never a need to really know. Your people never came down to us, so why would we need to worry about finding those locations?
Yet again, we are facing the need for allies. Because if they make entrance at various different points all over the coast, if they're attempting an invasion on the coast, we don't even know what they're doing at this point, just that they're coming. We need more allies.
I feel that allies at this point without intel be null and void.
I have to agree with your friend. Eredhel, you are correct. Allies are useful, but knowledge is more so. There is very little point in gathering assistance if you cannot target that power.
Or prove their existence, yes. We do have a lead. We know one point of interest for them was what someone is described to us as conduits, powerful sources of arcane power.
Interesting. Care to divulge?
Orbs, so to speak, golden, and seem to levitate with some graviturgy. And inside we found, and he taps Gaiax armor.
Yeah, and I'll stretch my wings out so you can see the full extent of it.
Oh, impressive.
We found a map of sorts while we were travelling to David.
You did?
It was I kind of take a glance around everybody else, a little strange. We were caught in a storm. Our ship was shipwrecked on an island that we believe had taken us to an alternate plane. And we found a temple of sorts, on the roof of which, on the ceiling, was a map of what appeared to be part of the Restless Coast and part of the rest of the world. There were points on this map that were lit up. We believe that they correspond to these different points of, what was it you referred to it as, Storm?
Conduits.
Magical? What was that?
Conduits. Orbs.
Conduits, yes.
Quite an adventure you seem to have been on.
All in the name of trying to work out if perhaps this is what the Ilithids want.
This has only just clicked in my head, but does this mean that they are not only attacking the coast?
Well, the fact that the Golden Empire are privy to their existence means that, yes, they exist in the lands that border the east to Stellar Apsis.
I always assumed that they would start with the coast, but perhaps they're starting all at once.
Maybe that it's no coincidence that the hive is located so close to this particular orb. We need to investigate these other orbs, maybe.
What we need.
Right.
Sorry.
I had heard of ancient relics buried beneath the ground. Perhaps they could prove useful.
We'd have to act quickly.
They were
Indeed.
all over the world.
This all comes back to what I initially asked, is if there is only but a month, you must prioritize what it is that you see as the most useful avenue to investigate and expede to follow up on these leads.
I mean,
would spend much time that could be put to other things as well, but could prove as the most useful option.
it would be preferable if we could take the fight to them and
Yes.
fight on our terms, but in the space of only a month, it doesn't look like that's going to be possible. What I would do is send word to the nations of the Restless Coast via a letter. If they elect to ignore it, then that's the duty of the government and their people. We warn everyone that in a month's time it is likely to happen. Could be longer, could be less than. And we try to prepare as best we can. In the meantime, we'll go and research these orbs, see if they can give us any more information.
At best, we need to ensure that none of the items within the orbs fall into the hands of the Ilithid.
I'm also...
I must agree with your suggestion on warning the others, including Foyford. If they were to not be warned, then the last thing we need is a powerful physical army being taken by surprise and potentially being brought under the sway of the enemy.
I was going to bring that up, yes. What were we going
At worst, they could be but a distraction, could provide necessary time. At best, they become an ally.
I think we need to organize someone who will go and contact the 44 then. What is the 44 relationship with Deepback?
There is little relationship. They do not negotiate trade with us, and we have little communication with them. Not since
it
I
might
have
be a
been
good
ruling.
idea while we are contacting Arilla and Mayfly and everyone else needs to be contacted and investigating these orbs, we divide and conquer, so to speak. And
Where we were. You were talking about the orbs.
Orderbees.
you can say we're suggesting, would it be possible to split our efforts, Cecilia and Theodore, Lord Theodore, if you could take over the efforts on the political end to reach out to Foyfort to make them aware of the situation, while we investigate possible invasion points for the Ilithid as well as these orbs and contact Arilla and Mayfly.
I can attempt to make communication with them. However, the chances of them being open to such negotiations with myself, I can imagine, are unlikely. But I can certainly
You alone,
attempt it.
possibly not, but if you and Queen Cecilia come together, perhaps they will listen.
I think that
Perhaps.
perhaps negotiations are something that is a little too far gone. Negotiations,
And how do we contact Foyfort and let them know what's happening?
we send a letter, we send word, we say that this is something that is happening and it's your choice whether or not you want to prepare for it.
And they'll just believe it?
What else can we do, Kensei?
We may
We've
not have
been
time
around
to go...
nearly the entire coast warning people, and in return, we've had people spit in our faces, done things for every single nation that we've been to, and received nothing in return.
Not
Theodore by far has been the most willing to accept what we have to say, and this is the position that we're in. We cannot afford to lose any more time wasting it on allies who do not want our help.
Then let's look to one other route.
Then might I offer something?
Please.
How many have you negotiated with? How many?
2 thus far.
2.
Successfully.
You.
Attempted with David, didn't go as good.
How many in total have you attempted to make communication with, and effectively felt that, how do I put this? It did not pan out,
One.
let's say.
One.
Just one.
Yeah, David.
David.
That seems like positive odds to me. You clearly have the support of my nation, and Cecilia is open enough to what you have said to engage in communication with me. From what you discussed, you did not even make communication with the royalty of David. That is not a criticism on your behalf. Clearly, you had problems there. Problems that I foresaw before you even ventured to the kingdom. That said, you cannot call your negotiations unsuccessful when 2 out of the 3 countries you have negotiated with, or nations, should I say, have taken to them.
It's not so much the being unsuccessful. I think if we had more time, we could be successful, but it's the fact we are on a ticking clock. It requires a lot of... We are out of our depth in this. We are... It requires so much research and...
And that is precisely what I mean. Every avenue has their positives and negatives in this situation. It's easy to disregard Foyfort, but if you believe them potentially to be an ally, a little creativity would go a long way. They are a proud and faithful people, much like David.
We've thought of one good idea. I still think it's an option. It would require slaying a dragon. I think Eredhel mentioned it, or can say.
No small feat. I had heard rumors of an appearance of one.
I believe we'd be wasting our time. We are much better suited to investigation, coming across monsters in dungeons.
Then that's perfect for slaying a dragon.
It is in our wheelhouse. We have slayed a lot of creatures.
What
think
would we
it's not
gain
too
from
much.
slaying a dragon? We
Foyfort.
and do...
I am not disagreeing with you. It's
Why should we have to fight to protect people that do not want protection?
I'm not saying we should do this or this is the correct option, but if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. Again, I'm not saying we should ally
And
with
what about in the
Foyfort, it's just an
meantime?
option
The
on
Ilithids
table.
are finding these convergences and taking them.
Again,
this
I said
brings
it's
me-
not the right option. I
Brings-
think we should talk with Arilla, get more information on the orbs, make a strategy, but
I think you're muted.
you're muted, Theodore, sorry.
Might I ask you a question, Eredhel?
By all means.
How can you be sure that Foyfort does not desire your protection? What communications have you had with them? I assume they have made that clear to you.
Based on our
What
experience
about
in the
your
past.
homeland?
What about my homeland?
Have you attempted negotiations with them? I know it is a delicate subject matter, but desperate times.
Have you ever tried to negotiate with the Drakenloft Isles before?
I have not, but I am currently negotiating with the daughter of one previous leader.
The Isles have a reputation for wanting to stay out of the rest of the coast's affairs unless it comes to raiding.
Deep Bay tends to keep itself out of the affairs of the coast as well, beyond trade. And yet here we are.
I think a lot of these options are merely a problem is more time. We could get the Drakenloft hours on our side if we had time, but I feel that in order to do so, we require much more effort than our previous nations we have visited. As for the dragon, I also think it could win us some points with Foy Fort and possibly make it so they would listen to us, but it would also take up too much time.
Mm-hmm.
Here is an idea then. I need to ask a DM before I say this though. Does Storm know anything about the Saurians?
I don't even know anything.
Oh, I think that's what you call them. The snow elves.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't hear the T in there. That's
Yes. Oh yeah, because I thought it was silent Saurians.
Sorry. Yeah.
Do I have to roll something? I know we've met.
Roll me a history.
We've met. I think I rolled something in D-Bay when we met the officer. She was like.
Yes. Yeah. You have met. You have met.
I wonder if I know anything about the kingdom itself, or.
Sure. Yeah. Roll me a history check on that.
Because I think this might be a big in-way because there's an orb right near their land. Oh yes.
So you know the Saurians. The Saurians. You've obviously met a snow elf before. Perhaps in discussion with your master and learning about Stellarian history, you know that Saurians are an alliance, like a pseudo empire of snow elves that distanced themselves from the Golden Empire and Stellarians, and moved themselves north to the frozen tundras, where eventually they, over time, evolved and adapted to the colder climates, to the snow elves that you know today. You know that they, like the Tabaxi, for different reasons, obviously, are opposed to the Stellarians. So they are kind of like I don't really want to say like a Cold War thing going on between them. It feels a little too real, but
they're defectors. They're essentially defected from the Golden Empire a long time ago.
Sort of. Yeah.
There's one other option we have. I don't know. I know you have a Saurian in your ranks, Lord Theodore. But essentially, we know of a location of an orb quite close to their territory in the Evertide.
Interesting.
Do you have any connection with them at all? Do you trade?
No, that is unfortunately too far north. The coast along the Burlamese and plundered isles, dangerous enough, much less with an extended journey through the frozen ocean to the north. It would be nearly impossible to trade with them by sea, at least from this side. You could sail through Stellarian Ocean, but then you have to pay through their taxes, which you can imagine are ridiculous.
Yes, I know their tariffs too well.
As such, trade with them is limited, if at all. At least from a city point of view. I'm sure there are private companies that make the trips.
From my knowledge, they are not on best terms with the Golden Empire.
As you can imagine, that was one of the reasons that the tax tariffs are so high to sail through the strait that leads to the Northern Ocean from Stellalapsus.
That's not something that we have to worry about, though.
It's not, but it could be. It's the closest orb to us.
Yes.
Compared to Sil City's orb.
It's a good place. Is as good a place to start as any. I think that we should warn the others in the Restless Coast who are not already aware. If they choose to ally themselves, then that's up to them. I don't think that we should waste time trying to convince them. Because we do not have that luxury. In the meantime, we should seek out the orbs, use what information Arilla gives us, and see if we can glean some more information about the Ilithids and about what they want from the orbs.
Or perhaps you need to make yourself more time.
How would we do that?
What does that mean? Yes.
Well, I suppose there are many avenues you could go down with that. Whether it be attempting to slow down their expansion with cannon fodder,
Well, that's
perhaps trying to locate some kind of base of operations and sabotage it, or some sort of infiltration.
We fought a scouting party, and that nearly killed us. I think making our
And if
way
that is true,
to the belly of the beast is going to be no small feat.
in all fairness. we were
then you can
prepared.
understand a small fear within me that if that is your position on but a scouting party, what good a few trinkets might do you in the face of a true adversary.
There is more to these conduits. I don't think it's just what's inside them. They
I also,
clearly have some significance that we don't quite understand yet.
I also think that rather than seeing it as gathering a few trinkets, it's more preventing the Illithids from gaining them. We already struggle fighting them. We don't need them to be any more powerful.
I agree with what Theodore said. In terms of what's more pressing right now, we already know that the Illithids have enough power without these so-called trinkets. And it will be dangerous. But we have a few tools on our side that might be able to help us. Certain skill sets.
If you are able to slow down their approach, perhaps you will gather yourself enough time to find multiple of these options. But of course, such an endeavor is not guaranteed to succeed or provide
That is
true assistance.
That is my concern, that if we spend time doing this and it is not successful, then we've just wasted more time.
I don't know if that's viable as long as we don't know where they're going to be coming up. I think until
We don't know enough.
I think quite a lot of our plans revolve around getting information from Arilla. I don't think we can
Yes.
focus on anything until
Yes,
we
I
have
agree.
Can't do anything until we've spoken to her.
I think
Have
first
you
thing tomorrow
contacted
we'll
Arilla?
I've been contacting her for months now. Her knowledge of the Ilithid is limited, but I'm sure we can.
Oh, I
get
thought
more.
it exceeded us.
Oh,
She
no.
really ought to be here for these conversations.
Yes.
There really is no more knowledge than what we already know. She's told us
No, that's
the last
my
thing.
misunderstanding.
Or at least what she's telling us.
The last
If
thing
you were
she
here
told-
in person, then we could...
Yes, this is what I'm saying. I think that we need her here to
Yes,
discuss.
you've only been exchanging messages in 25 words. It's hard to get
It's
meaning across.
impossible.
What I'm hoping we gain from her is more knowledge on what these conduits are, because clearly they are of.
Yes.
more significance
Either
than
way,
we think.
she has more knowledge than what we do right now. She really ought to be here.
Just a quick question on the orbs, and then we can move back to whatever. Theodore, I don't know if you've heard of anyone called the Snow Queen.
Yes, it's an old tale.
A
Some
story.
few hundred years old.
I remember it dates before the landing of humankind.
Indeed.
What does this story tell?
Well, if the stories are anything to be believed, and many tales are taken out of context, so perhaps take this with a pinch of spice. The tales say that an elven sorceress left the Empire, Golden Empire, to pursue her own interests, and amassed a sort of force within the coast, not too far from where the Kingdom of David is currently.
Oh, wow.
And in that time, her and her kin became a force. Of course, at that point, humans and your people had not landed here, and as such, beyond the Basques in the territories to the north and the forests, there was little resistance against her, and she was able to create an empire of her own. But many nations, a force of sorts between dwarves and orc, took distastefully to her existence and banded together to lay waste. And over time, the songs say that they won victory before falling once again into their own conflicts.
What happened to the Snow Queen?
She was defeated, killed. Castle remains to this day. There are tales about it, the ghosts, spirits that still exist there.
Where is the castle?
David. You said David, right?
Yes. I'm not too clued up on the history of that kingdom too well. Not to the degree of tales like this.
Well,
Why do you ask,
That's-
Arya?
it is when we were in Swordkist. I've just gone and lost the bloody page. When we were in the ruins, there in the notes it said that the orbs were originally created by the dwarves to turn the tide against the Snow Queen. I just figured if we knew a bit more about the story, it might tell us more about the orbs.
If I recall, they were more a recreation of the orbs. This orb was not on the map.
They were the Jesus Christ! I literally had the page open and I've gone and bloody lost it. Give me a second. Arya T poses.
One.
I remember I wrote down some notes too.
Oh, I just had it and I can't find it.
An orb of sealing, which the dwarves, yes. In frost.
Which makes sense with the story that
Frostbite.
Theodore just said, because he said that the dwarves did basically were the ones who were like, I don't like this, let's turn the tide.
Curious. It sounds like perhaps they were attempting to use something to seal her away, perhaps, or her arcane abilities. You said that these orbs were used to contain items. Perhaps it could contain people as well.
Yes, that is, I think, a thought that we all played around with as well. Yes, the dwarves constructed the orbs when we found blueprints in Swordkist.
But they were not the original creators.
No,
I am
I
asking.
remember.
I'm not. I enjoy history, but I am not.
Of course.
Privy to information such as this.
Because dwarves, from my memory, didn't really have much of a footing in the Junelands, and there's an orb said to be in the Junelands, or said to be in the far north.
Perhaps it was transported there through travel.
Yes. Or maybe the dwarves found the blueprints, because the orb that we found in Swordkist, it was a failure.
Experimental, some they said.
So if there is...
A reverse engineering, perhaps.
Yes, possibly.
Dwarves are known for such.
Also, I have a name written down. I can't remember, because the name of the ruins underneath Deep Bay is Swordkist, right?
Yeah, so it's S-O-R-T.
I have another name written down.
Frostheim.
Frostheim?
Yeah, I've got that written down too. Somewhere in Frostheim, a magical orb created. An orb of sealing.
Theodore, does that name ring a bell for you? Frostheim?
Might do. I don't. God, I can't even fucking see where. Oh goodness. One moment. I'm having to search through my bloody notes. So how was it spelled for you?
FROSSETHJEM.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Sorry, so double S.
ETHJEM.
Okay, I think I've got it on
Yeah,
here. So let's go with that one even. Oh, there we go. Okay. One moment. Let's see. The name does not immediately come to mind. It sounds dwarven.
Maybe that is the name of one of the cities to the east that they were talking about.
Can I pose a theory?
Please.
By all means.
I know it sounds fantastical, but at this point, who knows? If there was an orb that was successful in perhaps sealing a person away,
Oh, you don't think?
perhaps the Snow Queen herself has been sealed
Oh my
inside
God.
one of these orbs. If the Ilithid release her and take
Oh.
control of her mind, we don't know how powerful she could be.
Oh my god.
That is an interesting thought.
That didn't even
I'm
cross
not
my mind.
sure if, from what I know of the tales, she was supposedly slain, but as I said, everything with a pinch of spice.
We need to talk to Eredhel.
Before
Yes.
anything, yes.
We have to talk to Eredhel.
Last I spoke to her, she said she was in the Junelands, but it's been some time.
Are there any plans we can discuss
Could
now?
you please get into contact with her as soon as possible? We need her here
Yes.
now.
Are there any plans we can discuss now that don't involve meeting Gorilla?
Money. Yes. Fortune, favor. We need gold.
Yes.
Dear Lord Theodore, we beseech you.
Well, more importantly, Storm does for
Storm.
his magic.
I see.
If I'm going to ferry you.
I have taken your consideration into, consideration. I am, as much as I am benefiting from the arrangement with Queen Cecilia, I am putting a lot of the city's income on the line with the hundreds of thousands of gold that will be sent to her treasury. I am willing to make a concession towards you, but it will be a loan. It cannot be a grant. It would be a disservice to the citizens of this city.
Oh, I have means of paying it back, and I take out my ocarina.
Oh my god.
And I pat it on my ocarina.
I appreciate your effort to reach an agreement on that. However, I think other things would be more beneficial to the city than that. I am willing to meet you at 10,000. No more.
10,000.
You only wanted 600.
10,000, yes. But that sounds
No,
like
wait a moment, Storm.
paying that back is.
I assume that you are
Okay.
under the necessary requirements of finding additional arms and other necessary required components. It does not have to be that much. I am simply stating that is the
The
finite
extent,
limit
yes.
on what I am willing to put towards you from the city's coffers. I do expect it to either be paid off, and I will have to add interest to it, of course. You must understand, this is an arrangement. Or such a payment can be paid off in an exceptional job. At a later date, I understand that you are under time constraints. It will be an IOU, shall we say. At a later date, I will have to come forward with such a position if you do not repay.
This I have to ask. and I'm sorry, but is this a material plane kind of deal? And he gives him an eye.
Oh my goodness. Of course.
It's of our world, yes. I really don't want to be getting myself in any kind of deals.
I would be lying to you if I said that deals like that have not passed my lips. However, the selling of souls is a completely different trade, and one that I seldom engage in. The benefit of infernal agreements is that both parties are held accountable to their agreements. That is the side that I deal in.
I can't say I like it, but I know.
But as I said, I am not asking you to engage in that.
No, of course not.
I think that 10,000 is a very generous offer.
It would, and I believe we can pay it off, right? And after all this is complete, I think 10,000 gold to our name would help us travel, help us sway the minds of many allies, potential allies.
You really think we need that much?
If you desire to gain additional lands, but of course, like I said, 'tis but a upper limit. If you wish to request less, then I will understand, and according arrangements will be made. I must also put into the equation the offer that I put forward to you at dinner. I, of course, feel that I did not give you the full picture on such an offer. Of course, you would be granted deed to land, but in doing so, you would be considered lords and ladies of Deep Bay and our territories.
Oh no.
And in addition, as valued members of this city and the council of sorts, you would be granted a discount at city-affiliated shops and establishments.
Interesting. Does that count with the Glamorous shop?
Oh, which shop?
I can't remember the name
Grillerin.
of it. Grillerin, yes.
The Mystical Emporium is indeed a city-affiliated shop. As you can imagine, I had put forward a position with that regarding the fact that it is indeed arcanical in nature.
What do you think about this 10,000, everyone? We could go lower, but
Extremely generous, but I don't know.
Just take what you need. Please.
But do we need 10,000 though, can say?
Not 10,000, but please just take what you need for your supplies.
Yes, you're the one who needs it the most, so you tell us how much you need for
Don't
anything.
you think having some maybe enchanted weapons might suit us?
yes,
Absolutely, but how much do they cost?
money talks.
We should be on the lookout for items that possibly make this harder to be controlled.
Yes,
It's true.
would be a good idea.
This also means we don't have to go chasing silly jobs in order to make coin.
Fuck it, should we just take the full 10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything that we don't use, we can just then pay
You
back
can give
anyway.
it back, yeah.
So,
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
there's
Okay,
no reason
Theodore.
not to.
we will promise to pay it back in interest.
However we can.
I sense we'll be taking on a job in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna.
I think our character sense, this means we don't have to like do side jobs to get money. We've
Yeah,
got-
yeah. We've,
Yeah, well, we
Uh,
will
just
be
focus
doing it
on
for
the
a
main
while.
So
Yeah.
we're coming back as lords and ladies of deep.
Oh my gosh.
Your lord visor, Vanya Morozov, Theodore.
Yes.
She have any connections in Evertide?
My relationship with the Law Visor is tenuous.
Yes, I guess that
I'm not aware of any relations.
that was evident after you bailed us out last time.
Yes, and I must express that, of course, as if you take my offer as nobility in the city, you would, of course, have a blind eye to many things. However, corruption does corrupt. So, no more bailouts.
Ha.
I'm gonna side eye Aria.
no more
Stop
stealing pearls.
giggling.
Well,
Anything else we need to bring up that we can deal with now? Or that Theodore needs to hear?
I'm gonna kind of gesture over to Storm and Theodore. Would you be happy if Storm was to contact Arilla now?
I'm unable
He
to.
can't.
He can't. He said.
Oh, wait. Oh, we need to take a long rest. Okay.
Yeah, we need to rest.
Yeah.
We can take a recess on this meeting until tomorrow, if need
I
be.
think that might be best.
But one last thing, at least, perhaps to at least bring up is you have mentioned numerous times about potentially aiding in the meeting of Cecilia and I. But I'm curious how you would expect to do something like this.
When do you plan to travel to Cecilia? Where are you planning to meet?
As soon as possible would be preferable.
Storm, could you teleport us to the circle?
I can transport us to the circle, which is about a 5-day travel from Porto Minor. But I assume she'd be wanting to meet in what's that city called?
Volume.
Volterra.
Volterra.
Well,
Quite far from Volterra.
How many days of travel from the teleportation spot to Volterra?
To Volterra. Cool. That's more Aria's speed. She's traveled that.
Would I know how long the journey would be?
Potentially a couple of 10 days, depending on the weather.
Oh, it would be a bit of a trek.
I think if we're going to get Arilla involved, it might be better to meet her there at Volterra, where she can help present any information about what the Ilithid might be planning regarding these relics.
how long would it take to
think
send
we're,
word to Cecilia to meet us in Porto Minor?
She's more warmed up to the idea of magic by now, right? Aren't you funding some?
I don't think contacting her right away is a good idea. She
But via letter then, how long would it take?
Potentially by Raven, a few days perhaps.
It would take longer to get
How
her
much
to Porto
time?
than it would be for us to go to Volterra.
How far-
I believe you're underestimating how teleportation magic works.
Also,
Could she
aren't
meet us
we-
at the Druid Circle?
would she want to convene on business? And before we talk about this any longer, are we a little bit misunderstanding what the purpose of this meeting is? This is a business meeting, right? Aren't you discussing more trade and financial things between the two, or it's
Cecilia has to be kept in the loop about the current situation, and at the moment she's not.
My meeting with her is to discuss the beginnings of an arrangement to concede this coastal alliance.
okay? Yes.
To officially put into place the agreement that I will give her the required funds, and I, the space to create academies.
Perhaps this is something that we could leave in your hands then. Sending of official letters as somebody who holds a position of respect to other nations while we scout out a stronghold of the Ilithids and try and work out what is happening with these orbs.
Of course. Perhaps a necessary sacrifice.
So we shall reconvene tomorrow, hopefully with some plan on if Arilla will be joining us.
That sounds like the most useful plan, yes. I look forward to meeting this individual.
I'm gonna stand up.
Places a drink down, stand up himself. In which case, this meeting is adjourned, at least for tonight. Take your rest. We will meet here again.
When may we be receiving our gold?
I'll have that arranged tomorrow morning.
Ah, perfect.
For now, I would urge you to find your required rest. Let us meet at midday,
Thank you.
unless you have a required time afterwards.
I think we'll be requiring a decent rest after the day we've had.
Yeah, 'cause it's still the same day, isn't it?
Same day, yeah. Fucking hell. It's been a long, it's like a 3-session day.
In which case, I shall contact you.
Thank you.
Slightly the afternoon, then.
I'm gonna turn
Very
to
well.
leave.
This meeting is adjourned.
Last check. Just want to clock any of the servants and see if any of them
Yeah,
look like they're a little
yeah.
too interested.
Good idea,
Okay,
good
right.
idea. Because he's drinking. He looks sus.
No, not the. I'm looking at the servants, not the.
Oh, I'm looking at you. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at Ewan.
Is that insight or perception?
Insight, please.
Oh no, we'll never know.
So shit.
Pretty straight-faced. Seemingly just doing their jobs, making the rounds and pouring drinks and whatnot.
All right.
Ilithid
I
spy.
will get up to go.
All right. In which case, then, unless any of you have any further, final questions. All right. You step up from your chairs and are led back down the stairs and back towards your guest chambers. Jala with you as well.
Cool.
Eventually, you're led back in there, and the evening is now yours. To do with as you please before your rest. What would you like to do? Well, I'll tell you what, actually, given what the time is, we'll take our break there as you come back
Yay!
to your rooms. Well, actually, I take that back. Is there anything anyone would like to do before they find rest for the evening?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think
I
Ari's
hate
just
you
gonna
with my,
head straight to bed.
Alright.
Kidding.
My ring.
Alright, in which case then, doing whatever you will in the evening to find some sort of momentary downtime before finding your rest in your individual rooms, perhaps a bath, some fresh air, or whatever it might be. You find yourselves in extremely comfortable, warm beds, and before you know it, drifting off into a slumber. And that is where we'll take our break then. Hello and welcome back. So before the break, you guys had, in short, gone to the meeting with High Lord Theodore, and much was discussed, and a realization had come to fruition that, in reality, it was difficult to discuss all the really specific plans on what to do next without contacting Arilla first and getting her involved in the discussion for what she had to say could change the course of what plans to take precedence. But of course you had much laid out in front of you, and discussing with Theodore, it seemed at the moment that you were leaning more towards attempting to find these other orbs, if not to gain power for yourselves, then perhaps to prevent the Ilithid from gaining its power, as you believe to be the case. And that is where we will pick up. So, you had returned to your bedchambers and had a restful evening in a very comfortable space. The first real comfy bed and room to yourself, even with the luxuries of the lamp. You are all still together. But here is, you hear the sound of morning hawks in the sky, the incredibly frosted windows welcoming you to a morning in Deep Bay. You do all begin to awake. The outside with how high you are in the castle, mostly just kind of a foggy mess that you can barely see the obscured city below you. But with that, you awake, put on your clothing, and begin the day, which is now yours. So, this morning, Ferra Carta, what do you wish to do?
Where's my sheet? Where's my sheet? Where's my sheet? I may head straight back to Theodore, right? Get straight on to business.
What I will say is, as you're getting up and getting ready and beginning to kind of congregate in the common room, you hear a knock at the door, and being brought in is what do you even call them? Like a wheeled
Cart.
Oh, a cart.
I guess it's not really a cart, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like a breakfast
trolley.
cart. Maybe that is a trolley. A trolley feels more accurate to what I'm thinking. But like a little trolley with a bunch of different kind of platters on it, as they are placed down onto the kind of central, smaller dining table. Placed down, and a selection of different deep Bavian breakfasts are there.
Nice.
For you to enjoy as you each begin to wake up and prepare yourself for the day. And with breakfast finished, your belly's warm and full, what do you wish to do?
What time is it?
Say from the time that you you got a fairly a good sleep, so we can say that, you know, any time past 6 a.m. if you want to get yourselves up at any point after then.
I mean, if Storm's up, I'm going to ask him to contact Arilla.
Yes, I was getting on that. I'll be ready. Okay, here we go. Sets out the little piece of thread, and then strikes his blade, and like stings with this electricity, and he kind of dances it around his head, and his eyes roll back. It's Storm. We need to meet. Ilithid are said to rise under month time.
I'm gonna tell them where
We are in Deep Bay. 24 words. Yep.
All right. Storm. Good to hear from you. I am not currently indisposed. I shall attempt to meet with you urgently. I have never visited Deep Bay. Will teleport momentarily.
Great news, everybody. She's
Great
coming.
news, everyone.
Alright. Let's look at the teleport spell. 'Cause she's never been there before.
Oh yeah, she ends up fucking elsewhere.
It's just gonna.
You might kill her
Oh!
right here, right now.
Sake.
Really depends on her role, yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And we'll
I
never
mean,
know. She'd just be in the earth somewhere.
Yep. You'll never know. I suppose you could also always, contact her again.
Unless
Alright. Let's see here. Teleport.
Fucking
Let me
hell.
just check. Alright. Alright. Okay.
This spell description is
So-
brought to you by Natural Wonders.
Alright, okay. Well.
He's dead.
Alright.
Just kill the only hope.
God.
This is an important role.
On the way. Oh, for God's sake.
Jesus.
Alright, okay. It's not actually too bad. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, I mean, a few moments go by, nothing happens. She doesn't appear in front of you.
Oh, remember last time we when we teleported with her, she said it was very easy to get displaced.
Oh.
Are you able to contact her again?
I can, yes. Better make a follow-up message. Does the same ritual again, stirring, and then eyes roll back into his head. Just checking up on you. Remember the complications of teleportation. We are at
Castle Deep Bay.
Castle Deep Bay. If you're here, let us know.
Is that the end of your message?
Yeah.
Do we just hear a wet
You get,
squib?
you get a response.
No.
No, you don't. That would be great. No, she actually rolled for it. She rolled all right.
Scared the shit out of me.
A moment goes by where you kind of are worried a little bit. Sorry for the delay. Few odd looks. Can't target directly. Never visited before. I am heading to the location you mentioned. Smells a lot like fish.
Does Storm relay that to everyone else?
Relay it back to everyone, yeah.
Should we perhaps go down to the gates to meet her?
Probably be wise, yes.
Let's start heading out to the gates then.
Alright. Down to which gates would you like to go to?
So where we came up to, where we met those guards and was like, "Hey, let us in."
The gates to the right.
That's the right.
Alright. So as you kind of gather what else you need, you head through the hallways, which at this point you're kind of getting used to these claustrophobic narrow hallways, but beginning to map them out a little bit. Heading back down to the main courtyard where the portcullis is. As you approach, the guards that notice you there immediately pull on the lever and begin to pull up the portcullis, allowing you access over onto the very windy bridge and pathway that leads around the cliff face upon which the castle is situated. Back down in towards the rise, you can see the large spires and pillars around which the numerous manor buildings and fortresses and estates of the nobility of Deep Bay reside, and back down into kind of the smaller marketplace area full of much more upper class shops and buildings, and the gates situated on the southeastern side. As you head down towards there, the portcullis to that currently open as you approach. Are you just waiting there?
Yeah.
All right. You can see the crowds in the city below, and the various levels, even from the position that you're at. And after probably about 20 minutes or so, you see an image of someone who stands out a little bit differently to the rest of the Deep Bay populace. That fair-skinned, high elven woman with currently wearing like a long, deep, almost emerald-coloured robe with this extravagant kind of, I want to say like fur, like this white fur collar across it, who is heading up towards you wielding this long staff. She, finally approaches you, gives a wave as she gets closer. Good to see you in person again. It has been quite some time.
Been some month, yes, some months.
I don't think we should waste time. Is Lord Theodore
I
with us?
agree. It is very cold here.
Let's get back inside then. We are meeting with Theodore at midday.
Is Theodore with us? Or
No.
Oh no, you wouldn't have come down with you.
we have to introduce you to Lord Theodore as soon as possible?
Yes, we're meeting at midday, so until that point, I'd like to know as much as possible. And I'm going to start heading back inside.
Very well, let's do this. She follows you up. I'm following that same path again, back up towards the castle, through the courtyard, and back into the castle proper. Are you heading back towards your common room area first? Or heading straight to Theodore?
Say, depending on the time, I think if
You've still got a couple of hours.
Yeah, let's head back to the common room then.
Alright. As you approach the room, you actually pass by that servant in the hallway. There you are. I was looking for you. We have a package, I suppose, from the High Lord, who implied that we should give it to you this morning. It is
Heavy?
It is ready to be delivered to your room. It is indeed very heavy. I have not carried it myself, but I have heard that it is heavy. We did not wish to leave it unattended in your room, but if you are back, perhaps we can give it to you now.
Sounds excellent.
Very well, I'll have it arranged to be delivered momentarily.
Thank you very much.
He then actually turns around and scampers off quickly down another hallway. So you return to the room back in. You have a moment there as Arilla is looking around curiously at the architecture. Seems to be like prodding some of like the paintings and architecture. Before there's a knock at the door again. And the same servant and two others come in carrying this fairly hefty wooden chest and place it down on one of the small sort of like end tables or coffee-like tables near the fireplace. The delivery?
Excellent. Shall we pop it in our bag?
Sounds good. I'm going to pull up a chair from the dining table. I'm going to gesture for Arilla to sit. You must have
Thank you,
had quite a long journey.
It took
Oh, damn it.
only but a few moments.
Oh, I don't mean teleportation. I mean, you must have been busy these last few months.
No, quite. Been looking into the artifacts that we discovered underneath.
How was it in the belly of the Titans? You said I didn't.
I have not been. I have been researching on what might be located there, but I have not ventured there myself quite just yet.
What you would have done there. Been there by now.
Sounds so
I
exciting.
require the assistance of brave individuals like yourselves. I can't delve in there myself. It would be quite dangerous on my own.
So want to
course.
go.
So, to get to the point, what have you learnt?
Should we not wait for Theodore to have this discussion?
I think that I would like to be in the know before we choose what information to share.
While she's doing this, I'm going to just open the package and make sure it is what it is.
Yeah, you see 1,000 platinum pieces in there.
Add that to the bag, baby. Come here. Where you at? 1,000 platinum pieces.
Yeah,
It's like
and then
allowance
minted
day.
with Theodore's face
Are
on
they?
them. Yeah,
They have Theodore's
Yeah, they're-
face on them.
they're deep raven.
Outstanding.
Oh, wow.
Outstanding.
Issue.
We have 1,019 platinum now. Very nice.
It's pretty good.
We're minted now. We're minted.
You have to make a kingdom to actually make yourself minted.
Yeah,
on the
that's
actual point.
true. Okay, carry on.
So, what have you
Sorry.
learnt?
One moment, Storm. While we're attempting to do this, could we finally get in contact with Mayfly? Or is that
Oh.
something you would all like to wait to?
I
until we
think
can
I
come up with a
prefer
response?
to get Aria's.
I think that perhaps
Opinion,
Mayfly should be informed the same way that the other rulers are, via a letter.
You can't message him. I don't care.
I think messaging him would be pretty vital.
We do need to be in contact with him. You're right. As soon as this conversation's finished, I will.
Okay, fair enough.
So, what have you learnt?
Regarding the orbs.
Yes.
Well, let's see. All right. My experiments on the one that I took away from the location have proven difficult at best. Clearly they were used to lock something away. The armor, I presume. But their connection with the others that I could sense is curious. Almost like a web of sorts, interconnected, despite their long distances. They are extremely potent objects. And I believe they had another purpose. From what I can tell, the interior design is, well, designed to drain the force of whatever was placed inside. Like, as I believe I said to you, a sort of
Conduit.
a conduit, a battery, perhaps. Something that stores energy. But exactly what it was storing energy for is hard to determine. That is truly as far as I've got with the one that I have taken. I had hoped that in finding another, some comparable notes would be beneficial.
Have you ever come across, not necessarily taken, but come across other orbs of this nature before?
I have never come into direct contact with them. This was the first that I have ever seen in person. But I had knowledge that they may exist. There have been theories and discussions on the topic for quite some time, many centuries.
Seen in person, you know of more? Where?
Well, when I believe the both of us were able to determine that they were connected to others beyond, like echoes, perhaps. A communication network of some kind.
This sounds eerily similar to the way that Illithids function.
Perhaps. But one could say the same of the magic that Storm and I use to communicate with each other.
The weave, yes. It's
True.
all connected.
The weavers all around us.
You and I, forgive me. I don't mean to bring this up again, and I know it's a contentious point between points himself at the back, see, and points at her. A high elf. You said you don't work for the Golden Empire anymore. Is that correct?
I do not.
Can I insight check that?
Yep. She seems to be pretty truthful.
Okay.
Based on her actions and her persona currently.
I trust you. You've aided us. You've helped us, and in thanks for that, I can offer something to you. He pulls out his journal and shows to her the other 8, drawn on like a rough sketch of Val-Aeria. We've come to the possession of a map of another 6 locations.
So there are others.
And it might help you to know that we are actually above Sorkist, the one I mentioned to you over message some time ago, the experimental orb, the one created by dwarves against some snow queen of sorts.
I should like to see it if I have time.
Of course, yes, we can take you.
Arilla, I must ask, is there anything else that you perhaps have learned about Illithids in your time?
I will admit that most of my time has been spent on attempting to gain information on the potential orb in the Dunelands, but I have attempted to engage in some research regarding your situation.
Hmm.
I am aware of information of my own knowledge from my time studying at the academy. What I can relay to you is what I have been taught and what my people have researched in them, though much of that information is kept behind locked doors, shall we say. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there was a time where a cult movement took over part of my people, and they were excommunicated from the Empire for their connection to both psionic and, most specifically, Ilithid mutation.
It's not something to do with this Arcax, is it?
No, that is
Different.
ancient history of my people.
Oh, more recent. Oh, I see.
How long ago?
From the top of my knowledge, perhaps 1,000 years?
Oh, what Arcax? But this division you were talking about between.
But between the psionic
Yes.
cults that existed, yes.
What is that?
But they are long since pushed away from the Empire.
Oh,
What?
that's
I imagine they have disbanded.
also said 1,000 years too, or did you mean about Arcax? Sorry.
I'm not sure exactly what this has to do with the situation, if I'm completely honest. We could debate history of my home all day.
Can I see invisibility? Quickly, just before I say anything else.
Yeah, go right. Yeah.
Simple curiosity is all.
Alright,
Have a look around. the
so
room.
you look around. Nothing stands out to you. No listening or prying ears or eyes.
We mean to ask because we need to know our enemy. Like I said, we are at a crucial stage here. The more we can learn about psionics in general, the more we could prepare for this incoming potential invasion.
Unfortunately, I cannot help you in that regard. That it was a long time, and I have lived a few centuries, and it was long before my time.
Do you know of anybody who might happen to know more information about Illithids or psionics?
Perhaps one of the higher echelons within the Empire, perhaps. They're most likely. Like I said, I have some fundamental knowledge, but exactly what information is kept from others is hard to tell. What I can tell you is that in Val-Aerian history, as far as most scholars are aware, or at least as most scholars are allowed to tell us, the planes have mostly been isolated entirely, but post-conjunction, and I suppose for you that would be your landing, many openings began to emerge across the material plane, and the Ilithid come from a time long before any of those. They're dated in tales that are some of the earliest Imperial recordings. They're considered alien invaders, people beyond the understood planes, a place that, that has come to be recognised as the Far Realm. They're considered aberrations as such. In fact, some very old texts imply that they may have once lived among the Astral Sea, with signs of an empire that now is scattered to naught but dust in a starry ocean.
This is all useful information for my research, but you mentioned portals there. Did you mean about the portals to do with the landing of the humans, or more, I've done some research, more to do with the Telkasi portals I read recently there was some precursors, obviously of the Telkasi, precursor portals amongst Moonbelt.
Much of the information that came from the time of the Telkasi have been destroyed by the falling star. It is but now legends. What I'm referring to are the openings caused by the conjunction, the splitting of worlds and the shattering of boundaries between the planes, which now open.
Getting back slightly more to the present, if you had to theorize why the Ilithid are seeking out these conduits, what would it be?
It's difficult to say. If they are after the objects on the interior, then it makes sense. They wish to gain additional objects of power, but they are incredibly formidable creatures themselves. I can imagine wielding such objects would be useful to them.
What do you know about the Snow Queen?
I don't recognise the term.
It's a story that we were told yesterday about a
See.
snow elf?
I don't know if it was a snow elf,
An elf of some sort.
somebody from the Golden Empire.
She was an elven sorceress who way back in the day, created an empire in David. And the dwarves
She was
and orcs were
challenged and overthrown by dwarves and orcs. We theorize that it's possible that a human being, well, not a human being, a person, might be able to be kept in one of these orbs of sealing.
It's literally called an orb of sealing. She was a powerful sorceress.
Perhaps it's
Makes
using
sense.
her power.
I suppose it could be possible, but the makeup of the interior must be different. It would seem that it was designed for objects. That said, the other orbs could potentially be changed. As I said, I've only seen but one of them. I can't make a conclusive theory on it. What I would say, though, is the orb itself does not appear to be designed as a prison. It seems to be part of a chain of some sort, connected to others, fueled by whatever is in the interior.
When do you suppose, I know this is a long shot of a question, that they were dated from their you studied the one that we've taken? Does it seem like you could have an estimate of when it was dated?
The text, as I think we both came to conclude, has fragments of Old Stellarian, but as I looked over some more ancient texts, there is a correlation. I don't speak the old tongue, but...
Tadkasi, perhaps?
Exactly.
That's what
I would
wondering.
Presume, based on the... As I said, I apologise, there are so many thoughts going on in my mind. It's hard to get it all out at once. It's rather exciting, I must admit. Of course, it's a terrible thing that's happening, but it is rather exciting. From what I can tell, as much as the old information was destroyed and very little remains from the period before the Falling Star and the Citadel, there is at least knowledge that empires exist. Their remains are found everywhere across Val-Aeria, and the orb itself contains texts from 3 of what are widely considered to be the most prominent empires of the time. The Tadkasi, the old snake folk, as they're referred to, and something in Draconic, which we believe could be the old Dragonborn Empire.
Draconic, is it?
Yes.
The
scripture on the orb itself is made up of several different languages, almost as if 3 different groups work together on the same thing.
Like a
This
multitude.
may be a bit of a stretch, but how good is your memory?
Mine? Exceptional.
Could you write the draconic characters on a sheet of paper?
I can.
I'll
and
grab some paper and ink.
She'll begin to write it down. So what, if I remember correctly, the runes that you'd seen was not language per se. It was runes within the scripture of each language, as opposed to it saying, something in Draconic. So you can recognize that they are Draconic runes, but they aren't language.
Okay, so not very helpful.
But I believe you already knew that from that time.
Yeah, I think we would find out. We couldn't comprehend languages then, but I think they were just magic. They weren't.
Oh, you said you can't do it. I was gonna say because I have it.
Yeah, I think they weren't really words, so to speak. They were just runes.
It explains the architecture as well. You notice that at the time I mentioned that it was Solarian element, reflective of some of the old ruins that still exist in places like Moonvale, and yet there was something other about it.
Other. Curious.
Indeed, the Yonti.
Oh, these.
The what?
The Yuanti. I have not heard of the Yuanti.
They have snake heads, eel heads, perchance.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there's limited knowledge on what they would have looked like at the time, but they would have been similar in appearance to the lizard folk that you know.
Interesting.
It's widely believed that they share heritage.
Not to cut you off, Arilla, I understand.
Apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
understand you were very
I do go on.
But we need to figure out how this information can be used to decide on our next plan. We had talked about going to investigate the next one of these sites, and if we use Storm's map, we could narrow down which one is most likely to be next, possibly. I think, Arilla, if you would be okay with it, if we do decide to go, I think it might be best if you come with us so you can analyze the artifact when we find it.
I agree.
I had planned on doing so.
Excellent.
We were able to show you this experimental one we found in sort.
That would indeed be beneficial.
The next one we found was actually somewhere above Evertide. Seems north of the Sarian kingdom.
Might I look at this map?
Yes, here. He pulls out his journal. Shows you the sketch.
This is curious.
What?
This is... I'm sorry. A flash from the past.
What do you mean?
Insight check.
Go right ahead.
Yes.
I think I'd like to do that. Yes.
Sure.
Oh! You know what? I'll do it
Alright,
anyway
well.
just to see if Kensei can pick anything up.
Okay.
I read her fucking mind.
Alright. Oh, do you know what? I forget that we don't have the rolls up, so we need to say them.
28,
Right.
baby.
28. Oh god. Oh god. Stream like a little bit.
Exotic 20.
Alright. Sure. So, with that, with a 28, yeah, you can definitely see that she's like, as soon as she sees that, there's a moment where you watch her face kind of light up with, like, recognition of something. You don't think she's necessarily withholding information. But she's definitely come to some kind of realization. There's nothing nefarious in the way that she said it, but you definitely get the implication that something new has clicked with her, and she's like, as you watch her eyes flicker, it's like she's trying to figure something out, putting pieces together.
Okay, I'm gonna ask her what she's thinking about.
You're sure this is the location that you saw?
Well,
Certain.
yes, we found it in the elemental plane of water. We found ourselves there.
And this one here, and she points to the one that's near Bellinor, this correlates
Yes.
to the
Exactly.
orb that we saw.
And this one here, and he points to his Junans, is the one you aforementioned in the belly of the Titan.
It would make sense. Aye. It's all beginning to make sense.
Please tell us what you're thinking.
Around 50 years ago, I sent an expedition out to a region within the frozen ocean. I had information that some sort of magical, arcanical instigation was taking place there. I had sent an expedition out to find what it might be. And they returned to me with an interesting artifact. Supposedly they'd fought an aberration there as well. Formidable foe. 2 of them nearly didn't survive, from what I recall.
Yeah, boy.
And they brought back this, and she takes, like, she moves her robe aside, and you can see this this sort of like silver and blue wand, with like it's almost like the curving design of like water that kind of moves around it. And I'll put exactly what it looks like in the Discord. And that is why you should follow the Discord.
Cheeky plug.
Follow the Discord!
Follow the Discord.
Here we go, and into the Discord it goes. Oh, there we go. Boom.
Ooh.
Looking for this.
Whoa.
He's ready.
I want it.
Yeah, and that
I'm
is
gonna eat it.
the wand that she holds up in front of you.
What does this?
And yes, you do remember bringing that back.
What is it?
It's a wand.
What does it do?
Well, I mean, a great many things. It is a particularly powerful item. Supposedly, it was embedded within the head of this creature they had fought.
That's peculiar.
In its head?
I certainly hope that these orbs are not polymorph versions of them. That would... But it could be. And I currently have one. I'll have to investigate that.
So you think this has something to do with an orb in one of these locations? You said the one in the Shivering Sweeps?
Yes. She's going to point to which one it is. I need to get the map up now. It might be in your, is it in your journals?
I saved the image you sent us. I don't know where you put it.
Yeah, it's not in.
It's alright.
I think you might put it on the Discord.
Yeah, I might have done. Let's have a little look. Hopefully it's on there.
If not, I can send it.
Yeah, it's probably better if you send it. It might be a bit
Yeah,
of a
there you go.
scroll
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
not in
there you go.
Perfect, thank
back. There
you.
we are.
Yeah, so she points to one that is like where the frozen ocean is on the left, near the T.
Oh wait, that's the one I was talking about going to. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
That is one she refers to.
oh, that's where I was supposing we would go next. Ah, you've been there already.
Well, I have not, but I did send an expedition there. And this is what they returned to me with.
Well, there is quite a few to the north, it would seem.
It's all well and good, knowing where they are, but we need to know what the Ilithid want with them.
If we're going to judge by which one of these is most likely to be used by the Ilithid, if they're starting their assault from the coast, then it's most likely the one in Bellinor that they'll be after.
Well, we've already been there. We've already taken materials from there. That's the one that Eredhel has in her possession.
Sorry, this is Jack's fault, not Ken says. Where?
Well, I thought the armor was in there. Isn't Guy wearing it?
Yep,
Yeah,
Gaiac's
was
wearing
there,
it now. Yeah, that was.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was.
Your was also not there. She teleported away with it.
Right.
Or
That
she-
was,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
only one in
Performance
the
on the way.
So at least they, whatever it is, because I'm not convinced it's about what's inside them. It's about
It's
them.
about the orbs themselves.
So they can't actually use this one because it's been teleported away. So that's good. Maybe we ought to collect them.
Collect them.
In a month. You want us to go around the world in a month?
Well, if Aurilla could. Sorry,
A month?
we haven't been introduced.
Right, we should
No,
probably...
we haven't.
Sorry, Arilla, this is our friend, Zuko. Sorry, yes, we should also probably catch you up. We probably have about a month until the Ilithid attack.
Which is why I was to say that your teleportation would be very valuable.
It would. However, I can't teleport to places that I do not know of.
Right. But does this map not help?
I need at least a description of the
I
location, otherwise
see.
it will send me potentially anywhere.
We'll have a repeat of what we had here, but possibly worse.
And the likelihood of success upon doing that is rare, and by all accounts likely to end up somewhere completely different.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but the offer from Sindri is looking more and more appealing.
What offer?
Sindri offered to have the Golden Empire intervene.
I don't like that. It's not.
I don't much like it either, but
I don't think it's an option.
We are running out of options.
I can't tell you that joining with the Golden Empire would benefit your people. I've seen what they do. But if it means not being subservient to Ilithid, then I can understand why you would take such drastic action.
That's what it is. It's drastic. It's last resort.
We could...
Comes to it, perhaps, but I urge you to find another way. We can... Greater threats have been taken down in our history. For the gods' sake, we, the people of our past, pushed a bloody demon out of the material plane.
We did hear some possible avenues we could tackle, but we don't know anything confirmed. We can't seem to find anyone who is an expert on Ilithid in any form. The only thing we heard was that they possibly have a hive mind.
Which I'm pretty sure I learned from you.
Yes, that is how they communicate. Most psionics work that way.
And that if they have some kind of queen or leader of some sort that helps direct them.
The only people that I would suggest that would be experts beyond any higher echelon that might keep these secrets, which is undetermined, would be the people that experimented on them, the cult that I mentioned. But, as I said, they have dispersed. I couldn't tell you the location of such individuals.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Is there a way we could find out?
Not by my knowledge.
I'm gonna kind of give Storm a little bit of side eye, like a little bit of a...
To try and not give anything away, he flashes out. He notices it, but he doesn't look in your direction. He doesn't want to. He just keeps his composure.
If there was a way to perhaps a way to connect with them, perhaps to find out what their plans are,
Bye.
to an infiltration, an espionage, perhaps. Perhaps then at least we might get some information.
We have
That stuff.
thought of this. We know. We
It's
have
dangerous.
Yes, it's very dangerous.
An infiltration.
Indeed, I understand.
An infiltration on who? Sorry, the.
Ilithid.
The core of the Ilithid. Jala has theorized that there is one central nest of them underneath her. Oh, deep in the Underdark of under Bellinor.
And we would go there to investigate.
Or perhaps capture an Ilithid.
They don't often roam about on their own, as we've discovered.
No, they don't.
But it's could prove useful.
I am going to use Psychic with on Storm.
Alright.
I was not at this.
Oh dear. Okay, we have 4 hours.
That's your free one used for the
Yep.
day.
We do have a lone Ilithid at our disposal.
Wait. No. No, I knew you were going to suggest this. No. No, no, no. It's too dangerous. We could...
If there's ways of going about this without causing harm to others.
Causing harm. It could kill you, Eredhel. It could leave you completely under their whim or worse. We don't know what the outcome of prodding Nick more could be. I said I would swear secrecy for now in fear of what the others may say or do. But yes, it's looking like we can't do this alone. Maybe there is a safe way of doing it, but I don't have the knowledge. We could risk life.
I think that we need to tell the others.
Look, it's looking that way.
And just for some knowledge, some sense of what on earth is happening here, I should, at the very least, try to use this so-called gift to our advantage. If I had my weapons taken from me, perhaps had the hands bound so I couldn't produce daggers.
Your mother told you this directly. This is the reason why it's waking up. It wants to be back with the hive. What if we push
Exactly.
it to some extent? It could be irreparable.
If it wants to be back with the hive, then we have leverage. Perhaps that instinct and that drive will guide us directly to the center of the nest. It might even give us some more information about the Ilithids. It's not like we have time to waste.
I don't like this. I've got a really, really bad feeling about this.
Zuko just leans forward in his chair. So why are we all sitting in silence?
Yep. Uh-huh. Yep.
Does anyone want a cup of tea? I learned how to make it recently.
I would love some tea, Zuko.
It goes and does that.
Yes, perhaps let's take a short break here. I need to process what you've told me.
It's like
This is all very much.
I'll say, Eredhel, it's your call. Tell them. I think I agree. Might be time.
Do you feel that it's safe for Arilla to know?
I have no reason to believe she's working with them, but it seems like she does harbor some ill feelings.
Hmm.
Like I did, but I know it's not you.
None of this will be worth it or will matter if the coast is taken over by Ilithids. We said that we had to do whatever it takes.
Okay.
Ah, this sucks. Okay. How would she go about this? Fucking hell. Alright. Zuko, could you come here for a moment?
Yes. I just hang the pot up on the fire and come over.
Is everybody still at the table?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all just staring at you because you've been.
Yeah. There is something that you all need to know. I don't even know how to say this. It's so weird. I'm going to kind of look at Orilla. That cult of psionics that you spoke of. The experiments that they ran on Illithids. Some were successful. They managed to merge Ilithid tadpoles with the minds of elves. To the point where, for some reason, down a matriarchal lineage, in their descendants, an Ilithid tadpole was born and grew alongside their children. I don't know how many generations it's been. But my mother was one such elf. And this now means that I too have an Ilithid living inside me. This is brand new information!
Drops his cup of tea on the floor. That does not sound good.
It is not.
That sounds
Okay.
scary.
I turn to Storm and I go, I'm guessing you were aware of this. This
Yes.
is why you shared that look earlier.
Yes.
And Gaiak too.
Just
known?
sits back in his chair.
No. How long have you known?
Only a few, maybe a week.
A week. You've
No,
known for a week.
we've known like
A
2
day.
days.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
2 days.
Fine.
2 days.
Since
We-
she attacked us.
I have known.
This is the second day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been time.
Yeah,
is,
it's been
is,
2
is
days.
Weird.
It has been 2 days.
Timey-wimey, mate.
So
Yeah.
strange.
I've known since she attacked us.
I have also known since
Is
he
that-
attacked us too.
That's what it was.
That
Yes.
makes a lot of sense.
And you didn't think to
She
bring
attacked you.
Wait,
Any of this up?
wait. Before we start getting hostile, I thought that the presence that I sent in our conversation using psionics was the presence of the Ilithid listening in and gaining insight into our conversations. I threatened it, and that's when it defended itself. It was my fault that I attacked you. It wasn't my choice, but it was my fault.
Recklessness that won't be repeated. That's why I'm.
Absolutely.
I'm-
But this means that we do have access to the hive. I have since learned that the reason why it has awoken is because while we were fighting the Ilithid under Bellinor, that surge of psionic energy has awoken it, and it wishes to be returned to the hive.
We have to bear in mind this is, according to what we've learned, it's no ordinary tadpole. It's
Yes.
some mutagen.
Normally speaking, a removal of the tadpole would be possible, but due to my human ancestry, that is not possible.
So you're stuck with it.
Yes.
And
fucking fantastic.
do they know? Is it? Is it there now? Do you feel it?
It's a presence, I suppose, but I don't
Doesn't communicate.
sense anything. I've had dreams in the past. It shows me, and I kind of blush a little bit and look at Aria. My desires.
Do you,
Yes, look at the table.
do you think it's like a little... It's not like a little beacon, though, letting them know where we are all the time? Or do you think it's exactly like that?
We think it could exactly. be
Well,
something similar to that.
My theory is that it is not that.
You don't.
If that were the case, then the scouting party that we just came
known.
across would have known.
That's true.
But they did know. They sent those little brains after us.
I think those were chasing.
They were after you and Storm, not me.
They knew where we had
No.
gone. They saw us escape, right?
Yes, they didn't target me.
But why would?
I was unaware you had engaged them again.
Oh,
Just
I'm
We
sorry,
didn't
it's
exactly
been a-
have a
I'm
choice.
sorry, Aurilla, there is so much we need to catch you up
It's
on.
been a crazy few days.
Yes, we assisted some allies in the Underdark. And
Is Jala still here, or?
Jala is stood like outside the group, just kind of listening in. She
While
hasn't said anything.
while we are on this topic, I would like to point out that the Ilithid specifically said to me, "You can run, but you can't hide."
Hmm.
That has some chilling context now.
It does.
And then shortly after, we were attacked.
Wait a moment. What if we can also turn that back around on them?
That's what I believe.
It's completely reckless. You saw what happened last time when we prodded.
If
When
there
you
is a
got-
way that we can find a way
I had
to stop-
free use of my body then. Well, I didn't. Something else did.
If
Exactly.
there is a way, though, that we can, I don't really know what to call it, reverse the flow of this control that the tadpole is being forced to exhibit through this hive mind, perhaps we can use it to locate where the center of it is.
I
If we
believe
can
so.
find a way to subjugate it.
I believe so.
This may be a good sign.
Might give us more information.
Mm.
And as I said to Storm, it won't matter if the Ilithid invade and we're all dead anyway.
Right. The stakes are greater.
An unfortunate truth, yes.
Do you have any idea how you could do that?
I have prodded it before.
And with mixed results, I assume.
Yes. Most of the time when I've observed it, it's really come to no avail. A few times I've had dreams of darkness and cold and slithering tentacles.
Ugh.
This
Like
amplifies
these
it
ones?
now. Ooh.
I'm gonna take the wand of binding out of my my little pouch on the side. If someone was to use this, if anything went wrong,
The problem is you exhibited things I've never seen you do before, Alistair.
Bursts of psychic energy, right?
the way that psionic powers work is you have a wellspring of energy, of willpower. That willpower is manifested through the tadpole.
So when it exhibits full control, it has full
Yes.
usage of the wellspring. Yes, this makes sense.
And it wasn't very, It was giving it all it had before.
Yes. I think that's perhaps why it targeted Arya over everyone else.
It shares your personal vendettas.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's symbiotic.
Yes, something.
It knows how you feel.
When it
Yes.
confronted you, or you confronted it, did you see anything? Or or hear anything specific?
Yes, before I fell unconscious, I saw in the reflection the face of an Ilithid.
I want to put forward a proposal, if I may. There is a technique that I have been practicing somewhat with Gaia. It's the ability to visualize the space, a sort of mental palace, if you will.
It's funny that you should mention that, Kensei. I have noticed you practicing that with Gaiak, and it's through mimicking that I was even able to make contact in the first place.
Interesting. Then perhaps this may be more than I do than I thought. If there's a way, you can connect us all through the psychic whispers, correct?
Yes, that's true.
This may be a stretch. I don't know anything about magic.
If we are all connected, we can all... This might... Unfortunately, we are, unfortunately, a hive minds of ourselves when we are connected psionically.
If that's possible, though, could we help you contribute? If you can picture some landscape or something, perhaps, where we can
Perhaps.
face this.
We're like extra fuel for the wellspring.
Extra willpower.
Yes. Perhaps you could visualize a space where we could defeat it, or subjugate it, or lobotomize it, or something to make it less dominant in your own mind.
Yes, that is not actually a bad idea.
If we can do that, if we can find a way to make it so that it serves us, and we can locate the source of the earth, we will have
Yes,
considerable advantage.
that's right. And through that connection to the hive, we can learn more about what their plans are, about what they are, about what they want.
Yes.
Probably about time for that meeting, right?
How does Arilla look about all this as well?
She is concerned. There is a very clear, obvious expression of concern on her face, listening into this whole discussion. Where she was very excited and loud, she is now quiet and contemplative.
Is there
I
anywhere-
hesitated. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, sorry, after you. This is... You're the ultimate... You're more important here in this particular instance. This is ultimately you're on the line here, right?
I did hesitate to tell all of you, for fear that you might view me as your enemy.
No.
I kind of look over at Arilla. I do not wish to hurt any of you, myself.
I believe you. But I also believe that the Ilithid are manipulative. At some point you may not have a choice.
There is one more thing I'm considering. If this plan is viable, to somehow use a mental construct to subjugate this creature, I think we may need as much psionic help as possible. You mentioned that there were some psionic priestesses or oracles or some sort.
I'm sorry, Kensei, it's not quite the same thing. They have abilities involving the mind, but they do not quite understand in the same way.
I'm
Religious, correct?
Yes.
So they couldn't contribute to this, possibly helping us with this?
Possibly they could contribute, but they might want something in return. They might try to manipulate the situation in their favor. I don't know what it is they want, and I'm honestly a little distrustful because they were the people who were listening in our conversation previously.
They are also all the way in Dayford.
Yes.
You mentioned it is matriarchal. Is your mother of no assistance in this matter?
Even if she could help, I doubt she would.
Even with the fate of the coast?
Oh, yes. She's, she doesn't take kindly to failure.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I'd rather not involve her in this, as much as we have a...
You won't be too happy that you told us.
Yes, that's
Understood.
right. We have a terse relationship as it is, and even so, I'd rather not risk her life. I'm gonna make sure that, like, I have very purposefully avoided saying to Arilla that my mother is here in Deep Bay. Like, I'm trying to avoid letting that information slip.
So it would be down to just us.
We've
much
brought
time do
Gaiac
you-
back from the dead before. I'm sure that we can help to channel my mind a little bit better.
How much time do we have until the meeting with Theodore?
Probably a few hours.
We would need to do it somewhere secure, in
Eredhel,
case things went badly.
perhaps as a brief experiment to just see if this may even work. I would be willing to volunteer my own mind to see if you can enter the palace, so to speak.
That mind palace that you
Hmm.
and Gaiac have been creating. I mean,
Yes.
I can try. I'm guessing that Storm is somebody who's, like, just closest to me. I'm gonna pass him the wand of binding.
I'll take it.
And then I'm gonna sit across from Kensei. I'm
we're doing this
gonna
now.
bring him into psionic whispers. I'm gonna offer if Gaiac would like to be part of it as well.
Of course. I'll come and kneel down as well.
I'll be ready to chain people up if they need to be chained.
If I may, I think perhaps the person... wait, did you give Storm the wand of binding?
Yes.
Is Storm linked in the psychic whispers? And I'll say that in the psychic whispers.
I would have removed myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I in the psychic whispers?
You are now. Yeah.
Okay.
So Storm can take himself out. By the way, guys, you can take yourself out of psychic whispers anytime you want. Like, you don't have to stay in there.
I can hang up the phone.
You can literally hang up the phone. Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna. We're in our guest room, right?
You are, yeah.
I'm gonna clear away the remains of Aria's pillow fort. Just make
Oh, yeah.
and just make a spot in the center of the room, a cushion for each of us to sit on. And as a Gaiac, would you like to help take me into this?
Of course. What do you need?
Just remember the breathing exercises I taught you.
And I'll close my eyes, and yeah, kind of I like follow Kensei's breathing.
This time, you have to picture that you're entering a house rather than making your own.
No. I'm just gonna quickly type something in whispers. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna send it on Discord if that's alright, because I know the whispers chat shows up on the stream.
It doesn't.
It's only in
chat's
combat.
not there.
Oh, does it not? Oh, okay, cool.
Only the combat.
So as you placing the pillows down, you all begin to sit, closing your eyes, beginning to go through the beginnings of a meditative ritual and process.
Is it that we are trying to link up our minds so that we all have the same image, the same place in our minds. We're essentially creating a mental plane.
Think Inception.
Yeah, so sort of like in the form of this meditation, it's to try and be able to pick for you to be able to merge into either an image.
Yeah.
To be able to place yourself within someone else's mind.
Yeah. Okay.
As you begin the process, your mind's already connected through the psionic whispers. Inhales and exhales, the sound of the crackling of the fireplace becoming the almost rhythm, the familiar sound that begins to lull you into a meditative state. With your minds connected, Kayak and Eredhel, these like an image of a doorway or an archway appears, beckoning you to step over the threshold, to enter, welcomed into somewhere else. Do you step over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll enter.
Are we together or on our own?
You are on your own.
Okay, cool.
As your body passes through the threshold of this sort of shimmering, foggy space beyond the archway and door, there's a sensory shooting of light that overwhelms you for a moment as it fades, and you find yourselves stood within a courtyard. Kensei, would you like to explain what they're seeing?
Ooh.
More Kensei backstory.
It's the courtyard. It's very reminiscent of classic kind of Zen gardens you see. It's like square, like triangular, square in shape. It's kind of like, it seems like to be in the middle of this series of like wooden pillars, and then you look up and there is an open roof looking out into the sun above. And there's in the center, there's a small area with a tree with pink petals that seem to be just kind of raining down slowly but surely around the entire area. And sitting beneath it, you see two figures. I'll have to ask the DM if one of their faces can be seen.
No. So what none of you, even you, Kensei, do not get the chance to glance at your own face. It is this sort of like blurred image.
Like a smudged watercolor painting. You see a
Yes,
figure
exactly.
with very similar but possibly younger, much younger features. You'd notice, like, I don't know if Kensei's old enough to have grey in his hair, but it looks definitely less matted and worn, as do his clothes. You assume that it is based on the attire. You know who this possibly is. Opposite him is sat a man, a very strong aura emanating from him. A man looks to be in his late 60s, probably. Grey hair, hair tied back into like a top knot sort of thing, the front part of his head shaved. And they seem to be sitting opposite each other, cross-legged, having a drink.
Can I see Gaiak now, or is this like we're seeing this the same image but separately?
I would say that both of you can now see each other. You're almost ethereal,
Yeah.
slightly translucent, and as you stand there, listen, kind of come to looking at each other, you can see as the older individual, this sort of white, long hair and goatee, puts down this small porcelain cup. Will you do it? And then his mouth moves, but you do not hear a word. Be my second. They just kind of stare at each other.
I'm gonna wait for a few moments, see if anything happens, and then if nothing happens, I'm gonna approach the place where they're sat across from each other, and I'm gonna kind of look and go, Kensei?
As you walk over, they just kind of sat there in silence as the wind blows and the petals drift over, some settling on the clothing. You say the name, but there is no response from the individual knelt in front of you.
I am gonna go over. So they're sitting facing each other, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna kind of like sit next to them. I can't think of what the right word is, but like they're here. I'm gonna sit here, facing them, and just kind of, yeah, sit and look at them both and see what happens.
The younger figure is kind of just staring into the glass. Well, glass. It's a very strange looking cup from what you've gotten used to seeing on the coast. It's much flatter. It's almost like a bowl, so to speak. And you see that he's staring into it, almost not paying attention to it, because you see a petal from the tree land directly in it, and he barely seems to register. Can you not ask? And as he's about to say a name, but then suddenly there's a very violent sort of noise, almost like static on a TV. Like some part was blurted out or like censored. Can you not ask them to do it?
I will not force my son into this, to sully his hands with the blood of his own kin. It can only be you. So I ask again, will you be my second?
He just takes the petal out of the drink and drinks it down, puts the cup in front, and bows his head, putting both his knuckles to the ground. Of course, my lord.
And in that moment, the image begins to fade. You see this pink hue that seems to envelop everything around you like a chroma filter, as both the figures begin to just fade, becoming translucent before disappearing altogether.
Can I ask a real quick question?
You can.
Gaiac can see me, right?
Yep.
Would Gaiac be able to see me and the other little thing that's there as well?
Just sees
Kill.
an embodiment of you.
Cool.
Is it just? Are we still in the courtyard? Is it just me and Eredhel?
It is just you and Eredhel in the courtyard at the moment.
Memories.
But where is Kensei?
Can I try and see if I can like sense Kensei?
Yeah, sure. So as you like put out a filter to like, or a feeler even, to try and sense where he is, you sense that he is all around you. Everything is Kensei. It's almost like you have, through the process of the meditation, it's almost like a scry.
Yeah.
You are within his mind that has been opened up to you, for you.
I'm gonna smile and turn back to Gaiak. We've become one.
So we are in his mind.
Yes. I'm gonna take a look around. Can I see any other memories or anything?
So as you take a look around, you can see there is another one of these sort of like foggy archways that appears. And you can see that it's like, almost like branches woven into each other to form an archway with these pink petals that are growing off of the branches.
Wow.
Is there anywhere that, like, I don't know, if I kind of like close my eyes for a second, is there anywhere that I feel like compelled to go, or any like?
I wouldn't say
do?
compelled, but as you close your eyes and put your mind to it and focus on the space, you are drawn to this very strange archway that has appeared. It wasn't there in earlier on, but in the middle of this sort of scene, it has kind of made its image.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
gonna,
go.
Almost like a gateway.
I'm gonna hold out my hand to Eredhel,
I'm gonna take it.
and then yeah, we'll turn. Start walking towards it.
Alright. You should begin to take your steps towards stepping through the threshold once again, that familiar, overwhelming sense of light coming over you, but as it fades, Kensei, what do they see?
Oh, mate. This one's been a while. I actually have to get my backstory up to.
You mean your
been a
backstory
while.
novel?
You have no idea. It cuts back to when the light fades. You see a very different scene from what was before. Whereas before you were in an enclosed garden, almost a sanctuary kept apart from the rest of the world. You are now standing and looking at the view from the top of a on the top of a very high mountain. You see the clouds almost touching the rooftops of the what's the word? The huge and almost what's things with a D? I need a dictionary to find more descriptive words. This this humongous palace of gold and red that is sat atop this mountain, and you see the faceless figure from before, and the elderly one in front of him. You get the sense that the elderly one is the one leading the way, and as the one in the red kimono is looking over the horizon of the mountains. Debaucherous, that's the word I was going for. Looking over the mountains, a last scene of peace before, again, the static. You see the old man turn back and go, "Boy, come." And he turns back around and follows the elderly man inside. The inside of the palace is just as gaudy and eccentric as the rest of it. There's gold lining the floors. There is a humongous hall. The two men walking through it don't even fill a quarter of it. and they are approaching someone sitting in a throne.
What do they look like?
The person in the throne.
Yeah.
They're. I imagine they can make them out right. Sorry, I just after you said scry, I'm trying to think what they can and cannot make out.
Well, I would say that they can see this Halesian individual sat on this gold and silver and platinum throne, sat arrogantly leaning towards them in full black armor, swirling with gold trimming and symbols across it. Their brown hair tied up into a very high, like samurai ponytail, not dissimilar to Kensei's, except this is elegantly woven, a thick, very well trimmed beard and moustache. Oh no, did I cut out everything there?
Yeah.
Oh no.
We got up
Where
to
did
the
you get up?
ponytail bit.
The ponytail.
Alright, that's alright, yeah.
Right,
So,
that's
like, they're kind of similar to Kensei's, however, the stream is down as well.
No, not a 3-part.
Fuck.
Yeah, it
You
keeps doing it. It's just ridiculous. Pissing me off. I don't know what's going on. I'll wait for the stream to go back up. I think it might have gone back up.
Let me have a look. I had it open on another
It
tab.
looks
Yeah,
like
it's
it
gone
said
down.
it's back. Said it's back up.
This is really cool, by the way.
Yeah, this is amazing.
This is super cool.
When it said palace, I didn't mean it. I think it was an actual palace.
Stepped into Kensei's fucking mind. How? Oh,
Do you guys know if it's back up or not?
Let me have a look. Let me refresh the tab.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Back up
Yes.
now.
It is
back,
now.
yeah,
It is
back.
now. All right. So where did I get up to? So you see this individual sat on this this large throne in black and silver trimmed armor, a towering and imposing figure with a high ponytail which is like woven around, very well trimmed beard, slightly tanned skin, who is sat there arrogantly looking forward. So, the mighty Ryoto has finally come before me. At last, it seems your people have finally submitted to their betters.
You can see as both men remain completely silent. The elderly one, without any lack of composure or almost any acknowledgement of what the man in the chair, man in the throne has just said, pulls his swords from his waist, kneels down and holds them above his head, offering them.
Did it go down again?
I didn't. I didn't.
No.
Oh god, sorry. It just looks like everything's gone dropped again.
No, it's good.
Alright, sorry
Keep it
about
open.
that.
I'll keep it open.
Thank you. Alright, sorry. So you see these two kind of like approach and, as you said, begin to make moves to sit down. And now, for what tradition demands, Lord.
Again, without almost any acknowledgement of what the man on the throne has said, the man, the elderly man, kneels down and starts to undress the top half of his body.
I gotta look at Guy like.
You notice as well, this guy's ripped for a guy in his late 60s. And as he does... Ooh, man. and you see that he, from the folds of his clothes, he also produces a dagger. And I should probably ask as well, DM, is it the same dagger that is currently in Kensei's purse?
It is the same dagger.
That jade one.
No, not the jade one. There was another one that Kensei found. That he, I believe did we purchase it from? No, it was a gift. It was a gift.
Oh
from
yes, I remember.
Aria's mother.
Yep, I remember.
It was a gift from Aria's mum. Yeah. So, you see him produce this very familiar-looking dagger, or as Kensei may have referred to it once, a tanto. And you see him pull the knife out and position it poised at his own chest. And you see the man in the red kimono behind him is kind of... It looks like he's stuck in place. And he's just kind of... You get the sense that he's trying to raise his arms to his sword, but he doesn't want to. And then the elderly man on the floor stares back at him with just one glare. The man in red steps forward and draws his sword and holds it up in an angle, ready to strike down at the elderly man's neck. It's very bloody and very almost instant. The elderly man pierces his own chest and rakes the dagger across his stomach. And the man in red swiftly cuts the back of his neck, killing him instantly.
Thus, our great empire is united at last. As you watch the individual on the throne stand up and walk down towards the red-robed man, as once again the images begin to fade into translucent light, and you are left alone in silence within this hallway, this hall, side of this large, gaudy throne ahead of you.
This is what Kensei cannot speak of.
I assume so, yes. Is the blood still on the floor?
The blood is still there. It stains the ground.
Poor Kensei.
I'll kind of like stand just for a couple of moments. Is it just utter silence and stillness?
At the moment, yes, there is just almost complete silence. Nothing seems to move or change.
You feel anything?
Do I feel anything?
As you put your sense out, you can see that the way back behind you has changed to that similar image of the of like an archway. This one is more black, and you get the sense that it's an sort of like an archway back to your own minds.
Okay.
But you also see where the throne was, it's no longer there, and instead is another of these archways with the coiling bramble and branch with pink petals across it.
I will follow your lead. Do you wish to go further?
It feels like a violation to explore his memories when he cannot tell us himself. What do you think we should do?
I'm not sure this does not feel intentional.
I agree. It bodes well for when we unite together and explore other memories.
Yes. I just want to ask again, are you sure that, I mean, your plan, your idea, you're sure that that's the right thing to do?
Can't be sure on anything. But I do feel that it might help us. If all goes according to plan, that is.
Okay.
I would like to explore more of Kensei's backstory.
So would I.
I was like, can they? I know they're saying this, but can they resist the temptation?
No.
Sam is
No, I
struggling.
can't. Maybe that's a little bit meta, but I want to do it.
You're gonna go further?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, as obviously Eredhel starts to walk, then I said I'll follow her, so I'll walk with her.
Okay. So as you step further and head through that next veil, you find yourself in the middle of like what appears to be sort of like a, as best you could describe, like a mountainous region. I think I'm gonna ask Kensei what they see here.
Oh boy. Okay, this is another one where I'm gonna have to search the tome for a sec. Hang on.
I go to script page 13, please. Scripted? I don't know what you mean.
Alright. You see a very different scene yet again. Like I say, like the DM was saying, there is a mountainous area, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. Kensei looks a little older, or at least the parts of him that you can make out. His robes are nicer, but you get the sense that you can notice that the design of his original robes has been slowly etched out. The clan symbol that is usually prevalent on the back of it, gone. And you see that originally he's sleeping by a campfire, and as the campfire light goes away, there is a very different light that takes its place, more pink and fluorescent. And you notice as these glowing petals, similar to the ones like the tree you saw in the garden, start falling down, and one of them slightly covers his face, or the smudge that is his face. And you see that it kind of makes him stir a little bit. And then you hear another voice that up until this point you haven't heard. And you hear the sound of a woman's laugh. It's amazing. And you see that makes him stir from his sleep. And as we switch to this man's point of view, you see that they are in the middle of a small tree grove, with a beautifully blue fluorescent lake. A small lake in the middle of this grove. The moon is perfectly reflected in it. And you see the tree with the petals. It's very similar again to the tree you saw in the garden, but all the petals are glowing blue, fluorescent. If you get the sense there might be something arcane or magical to do with them, and they're just falling around. It's a beautiful scene. And you see the figure that you think is Kensei turn to this woman. Very different from the figures that he's been seen with before. She is gentle. Her skin is pale white. She's thick black hair going down past, I would say, past her elbows, almost to her hips. Her clothes are very, very ostentatious, but they're also rather ragged, as if they've been out in the wilderness a little too long. And you get the sense, and he's looking up, she is looking up at the tree. She just says, it's beautiful. And you see as he looks at her, almost unconsciously the words escape his lips. Yes, it is. She kind of turns away from the tree for a moment, and she looks at him, and she notices that the whole time he's been looking at her. Start to approach each other. The campfire starts to go out, and with the last bit of light given by the beautiful reflection of the moon and the trees, they lean in and kiss.
Get some. Get it, Kensei.
As they embrace, you watch the light of the tree glow as they both fade to translucence once again, and you're left in this scene of beauty before another archway appears. This time only one. Shimmering darkness that beckons you back to your own minds.
See you on the other side.
I'll bow, and I guess we
Going back.
step through.
Alright. As you head towards the archway, stepping through together, the image of the beautiful grove behind you dispersing, darkness fills your vision as you open your eyes back in the room in Deep Bay. Your companions around you watching intently as you come out of your meditation.
Kind of like open my eyes slowly. Just look across at Kensei.
Yeah, what's Kensei looking like right now?
Am I aware of everything that just happened?
I'd say you're aware that they made their way into your mind and were. I'd say that those kind of those archways were, whether it be subconscious or not, were you sort of granting access to those memories.
That is strange. I'm not sure if it worked.
Kensei,
I remembered some things I haven't thought about in a while.
We saw your memories.
Kensei, it definitely worked.
Oh,
We saw that man.
the older one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a woman in a grove.
that one I shouldn't have thought of.
I won't ask you who she is. I don't think you'd be able to tell us anyway. Thank you for allowing us to access those parts of your mind.
Thank you for seeing me.
I wish we could have seen more.
I put my hand on his shoulder. Give him a little squeeze.
Well, on the bright side, we know that this may work.
Yes, I believe it will. I believe that if we can join our minds together, then I can guide you through my own mental plane and perhaps to where it resides.
And you are still sure you want to do this?
Yes, I'm certain. More than ever now.
This is excellent. I will recommend that I would prefer to stay on the outside when we do this. I have an idea on how to protect the rest of your minds in case something like this
That works perfectly.
happens again.
We should definitely not do it in this room, though. Somewhere safe where, if worst case scenario, everything goes completely wrong, it doesn't impact the city.
We could go and scout out that new piece of land that we've been given.
Not a bad idea.
Mm.
Perhaps there's a basement of some sort.
Yes.
Lock ourselves in.
I don't know what will happen if you enter my mind. There may be some things that you do not wish to see. I'm gonna kind of like glance across at Aria as well, like a little bit of a sorry we did.
Well, it's the necessary step.
I think it will lead us closer to our enemy. What's Arilla doing at the moment?
She is just watching at the moment. Like, she's been like sat there with you, just kind of having watched this unfolded in the conversation afterwards. I think she's gone from like a position of like really being quite interested and talking a lot to now, you know, there's some shit that's kind of got a little bit real. You know?
Yeah.
So what are your plans?
I think
Don't
best thing.
cry.
Yeah. I think we should have the meeting with Theodore, and then after that, we go and look at that new location, see if we can find out anything about the Ilithid, and then, based on what we find there, we can either try to infiltrate the hive, or go find out more about the orbs.
Alright. Well, as you raise from this meditation, having this conversation after an interesting experience, the first real glimpse into Kensei's life before having met you, you discuss the potential use of such an ability to try and engage in some kind of scrying of a degree on the Ilithid, with many plans to come and to decide upon a meeting with Theodore and Arilla within but a few hours. A lot of decisions need to be made, but we'll find out what those decisions are next week.
Oh, what a session.
We got Kensei backstory!
Yeah, we did.
I talked about that with you weeks ago, and I was like, when can I? Because I knew that Eredhel was vital to it, but I didn't know anything about the tadpole, so I was like, I couldn't put the suggestion forward.
I mean, that's a great idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I
to sell everybody.
love this idea. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting idea. So we'll see how that pans out.
Oh, God.
Manipulate the manipulators.
Sign
A
off,
fight inside your mind.
let's do our round of shout outs again just before we finish off tonight. So do you want to kick things off, Mitch?
Yeah, sure thing. So tomorrow evening, Mondays at 7 till 10, over on the channel twitch.tv/Natural Wonders, we'll play Star Wars: Edge of the Empire. It's me, you, and Sam, Jay, and a couple of our friends. And it's been a short little break for us because we had some stuff going on the last couple of weeks, but it's going to be fun tomorrow. So come along and hang out with some cool Star Wars stuff.
Come see Mitch's face.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that.
On a planet. Put my face on a planet.
On a
And
fucking
blow it up.
planet.
Blow the
Blow it
planet up.
up.
Put it all over the galaxy.
Reads.
Sam, do you want to mention what ye do?
Yes, twitch.tv/Sam JKP. Same one. Legends Arceus at the minute, trying to complete all of the bits and bobs. Yeah, come and watch. It's a good time.
New Pokemon
Most
announced.
of the time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh god, I think my internet is fucking up again.
Oh, let's not get into that.
Let's
'cause I
go
could
for
talk for
Coco.
ages.
Yeah. And Maya, do you want to say a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I stream as well. Come TV and again, just playing some Genshin Impact, beating some people up, and trying to not lose pity and get some cool stuff. There you go.
Cool stuff.
Oh, also we sometimes play some spooky games as well, just in case you're interested in the kind of spooky stuff. We play like Phasmophobia. I on my own also play Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Five Nights at Freddy's. So if you like that kind of thing, come and check out Freaky Fridays.
Hell yeah. So with that, we're going to sign off. We'll see you next week. See everything, how it pans out and the decisions that are made. But I guess until then, just remember to stay dirty. Yeah! See you next week.
You gotta go fill a bath up with poo.